Going live. We're live. Hello.
Hello.
What's up? It is Saturday. I'm sore. My back kind of hurts, and I'm sweaty because I helped with the moving of a friendo, and I've been up till 7 a.m. on a Saturday, and I hate my life. But that's how it goes when you help your friendos. And
Well, in the event that I end up giving you any medical advice on the back pain, as I was doing with Az's coughing fits on Twitter yesterday, while I am a medical professional, I
Yeah.
must say for legal purposes that none of you are my patients. So my advice is a layman's advice at this point, even though
Yeah.
my job outside of YouTube is being a full-time army medic. So when Az is like, I've been having coughing fits, it's waking me up and it's affecting my sleep, I'm just like, oh, 45-degree angle, bro. That's what you want to sleep at.
Nice. Yeah, no, it's not like super bad. It's just like helping moving, lifting some heavy stuff, how it goes. But we can't just have a Saturday without having any movie discussions, because EFAB is going to be tomorrow again, so we can have chat on again for Thor: Love and Thunder Part 2. Woo, can't wait to never talk about this movie again.
This is the first Marvel movie that I was looking forward to seeing when it first got announced, because I'm one of the people
same.
who thought that Ragnarok was pretty good. So I was like, I feel like even if the Marvel Cinematic Universe Phase 4 is kind of shit,
This one had
I think Taika Waititi could make an entertaining movie that's probably still going to be pretty good. And then I saw Doctor Strange and was like, okay, I think I'm done going to see Marvel movies in theaters. And everything I've heard about Thor: Love and Thunder is making me think that maybe that was the right call.
Oh, absolutely.
But, there's always the possibility of a No Way Home. That can always happen.
Well, we were basically all hoping to just have some funny stuff in it, some okay character stuff, but goddamn, that movie is bad and cringe. It's ugh.
Yes, I have seen nothing about it I have seen has made me second guess my decision to be like, I'll just skip this one.
Yeah, don't
catch
bother.
it on Disney Plus, because I share my Disney Plus subscription with my sister, who has 2 little kids, so they're never canceling it. So as much as I'd like to be like, yeah, fuck paying money to Disney, it's like, well, this money would get paid regardless. It would just be, I wouldn't be watching the stuff and being able to talk about it. So I wouldn't have been on that EFAP where we were talking about Obi-Wan, because that was oh man, I've never turned so much more into the Doomer meme that's not the one with the toucan, but it's the one that's just the black sketch outline Doomer where he's kind of smirking and looking down. That was me while watching Kenobi. I was like, okay, Star Wars is done.
It's just all sludge and awful, and makes me not want to watch anything anymore. It's so sad.
Well, I think the thing I was always saying about Kenobi, oh god, do you hear my dogs growling? They're like having a jiu-jitsu match behind me right now. But my big thing with Kenobi was, I was like, well, Last Jedi was the first Star Wars movie that really hurt me, and nothing I've really seen from it since has gotten me really back in. I was like, well, Jedi Fallen Order was an okay video game, and Mandalorian Season 1 was entertaining enough, if not with its own share of tisms. But Obi-Wan was the first one I watched. Is like, oh, even the people making it can't think this is good. I was like, I think this is the one that they're in on the joke of like, yeah, Star Wars is just shit now and no one cares, so whatever, let's just put some lightsabers in it and people think it's a masterpiece. And I think that was what gave me the Doomer face. I was like, oh, yeah, even the people making it don't think they're making something good. Because as much as I think Last Jedi sucks, I think Rian Johnson think he made a good movie. Like, I think the people behind it are like, yeah, this is a good move. We're doing some subversion of expectations. We're doing some cool stuff. The cinematography is still good, Whereas Obi-Wan, it was just like, I have a feeling that Deborah Chow like watches this and is just like, I fucking hate that my name is on this. Like, I don't believe that she can watch this back and be like, yeah, I fucking nailed that. I'll be willing to give her that maybe she was constrained by time or budget or the volume shooting or whatever it was, but it's the first time I was like, wow, even the people behind this stuff are out.
Yeah, you never know with those Disney things. Man, the whole CGI thing with Thor as well is so insane. I'm probably going to bring it up on EFAB again tomorrow, because like in the week after we did the first EFAB on Thor, there was a Reddit thread went around the world, around the interwebs. Where basically CGI people or VFX artists have been coming out and it's like, yeah, but we had Disney as like customers and it's absolutely awful. They want like mini packs of things in like 3 weeks, and then they change stuff around all the time. It's yeah, a lot of VFX artists just don't take projects from Disney anymore because it's just not even worth the money or worth having the name on your resume, I guess, because they just have like to work overtime all the time. And it's
especially when you have the director of the movie coming out and being like, yeah, this doesn't look very good, does it? No, that one looks kind of shit. Ha ha ha. Yeah. And then, like, again, you probably have your doomer face VFX guys that are just like, yeah, that took us 72 hours that we had to cram into 24 hours of work. So thanks.
And even more coincidental, are you aware of the Corridor crew? The Corridor Digital?
Corridor crew. No, I don't think so. Is it the VFX house?
Yes, they are. And they also have like a pretty cool YouTube channel where they do like their own stuff and do like some silly stuff. And one of their people has been working on like a little short film that is basically all CGI. And it's all made by himself in like 3 years. And considering he's doing this alone and he just had time and the tools from the house, basically,
it ended up being really good.
It looks like insanely good. I'm gonna try.
Well, have you ever heard the 3 pillars of making a good product are fast, cheap, or good? And it's like you only pick 2 of the 3.
Yeah,
it's starting to seem like maybe
same with sleep, energy, and money or something.
Yeah, well, I'm starting to think though that we might be getting to the point that they're trying to pump these things out at such a rate that money is not canceling out the fast. You know, so it's like maybe regardless of how much money you're throwing into it, these timelines for big budget blockbuster AAA movie, I guess you could say, for lack of applying a gaming term to it, success is not only limited by money and talent, it might really have a time factor when you're doing a lot of VFX.
Yeah.
And maybe they'll catch on to that, but I think if they have enough people that are still being like, oh yeah, like Obi-Wan, that last fight was the best lightsaber battle in the whole series. I'm just like, oh god, guys, come on.
Please stop.
let's pump those standards up just a smidge.
This is the short film. It's called Scooty. So, chat, after we're done with this, go check that out. It's just called Scooty, SCOOTY.
I have it now in my YouTube history.
Yeah, and go check that out. It's like, I didn't watch it all the way through because I was busy, but what I've seen is like, man, you did this all by yourself, huh? That's actually really, really impressive. Obviously, he had the tools from the studio and like a 3090 graphics card, and he was able to do motion capture, suit stuff. But I think it just shows what you can do if you just have time to do it and refine it. It's obviously not perfect. You can see some jank here and there, I would say, from what I've seen. But man, like the way this Scooty character just blends in the environment and how he works with the lighting, it's good shit. It's good shit. Just go check that out.
Well, the thing with time, the time factor being the thing that's focused on, is you can pare things down to a really small team and he'll still have things turn out really, really well. And game dev is actually a really good example of this. Did you play any of the demos that were going on in the last Steam Next Fest?
No, I haven't. I've been on a retro craze at the moment. I've been playing a lot of Zelda.
Oh, not bad. I actually have almost every Zelda game on my Steam Deck right now.
Sick.
But yeah, the emulator support on that thing is kind of wild. It's sort of.
I've been kind of doing the opposite thing. I've revived all my old consoles. Even bought an old TV with like SCART connectors and shit.
Oh man, that's legit.
Yeah, I put a picture on it on the Twitter machine. It's far from done. I want to have like a really nice one with like a cupboard and everything. But yeah, I had like a guy like right around my corner who was selling one for $50. It was really lucky. I basically got it on like an eBay thing that works basically like Craigslist, I would say. That was like the first comparison I could think of, where they just put on things on there and you can just hit them up over messages like,
Yeah,
hey,
an online flea market kind of marketplace.
Yeah,
I usually use Facebook for that stuff, for like selling parts. Like anytime I have a computer upgrade, my first stop is X-Ray Girl. Do you need this? No. My second stop is, hey, my buddies from high school. Do you guys need this thing, or do you want to like swap me something for it? Something? No, okay. Selling it on Facebook Marketplace, and usually it's pretty fast to get rid of stuff.
Oh yeah. But yeah, I've been doing that. I also found a retro game shop in Cologne, which is not too far away from me with the train.
Right on. How are the prices? Because I find retro game shops tend to go between, like, you can find just ridiculous deals on them that you're like, oh my god, how are they getting rid of this game for that? Or it's like a boutique one where they're like, this copy of Zelda is getting Zelda with the gold cartridge for the NES were heavily used and very scratched up. We're letting go for the low price of $6,000.
No, it depends. They have like fully boxed stuff that I have like in displays and stuff. That's definitely the more expensive stuff. But they have like just the loose cartridges lying around, and they clean them up nicely and everything. Put them in like little plastic bags. It's a small little shop. I even got a capture card there for me to stream from consoles as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, no, I really like that shop. I'm probably gonna go there and spend a lot of money over the years. Now that I know it's there.
Awesome. I mean, you could give them a plug if you want, but it also might out your location, so don't.
I already told on stream where they are. It's like in Cologne West. So if you're in Germany and Cologne,
there you go, Germans. Google search India retro game shop in Cologne West to maybe someday run into Metalcommander.
Yeah, one of the months when I go there for some reason. But yeah, they have like boxed consoles as well, old ones. They have like Sega Mega Drive or Genesis, whatever it is in your...
yeah, it was Genesis for us. Okay. Mega Drive in Europe, I know.
Yeah, and I never had a GameCube for myself. I think I borrowed one from a friend once, but I never had one myself. I want one of those. They even had...
That was my story with Wii.
They had a damn Dreamcast there. I haven't seen one in person since I rented one from the video store with my dad, like when I was 12.
I was a day one Dreamcast owner. And actually, honestly, I love that system quite a bit. I ended up selling mine because I didn't think I'd ever end up playing it, and most of the games that I really liked on Dreamcast had been ported to PC at some point. So I was like, there's a few I'm missing, but whatever. But on the EmuDeck software on Steam Deck, I did find a Dreamcast emulator. So nice. I found my old discs of Power Stone 2, and Zombie Revenge, which were the games I kept because I was like, these games have not shown up anywhere else but on Dreamcast. And one thing I've noticed about Dreamcast games, or at least the ones that I've played, they all seem to be at closer to the PS1 generation standard of visual fidelity, where the Dreamcast was kind of that bridge between that generation and like the PS2, Xbox, GameCube generation. Mm-hmm. But the catch is every single game, I have 3 out of 3 games all run at 60 FPS, like perfectly. Nice. So I'm just like, was Sega on to the right idea where it's like, hey, these games don't necessarily need to look that fantastic from in a screenshot, but if we make them run really well, they're all going to seem like really fun games. And I like that at least the newest generation of consoles seem to give you some graphics options, like you can be like performance mode or fidelity mode, and I never touch fidelity mode. But I long for the day where technology's gotten to the point that they exceed the budgets for AAA development, so that it's like, hey, there's enough power for us to do everything we could possibly want to do fidelity-wise and still have things run perfectly. Mm-hmm. And if we want to take advantage of this fidelity to the level it can actually produce, if we're doing 30 FPS games in 8K or whatever on PlayStation 7, I hope they're like, oh, okay, let's not do that and just stick to 4K 60 FPS as the standard. And that's the world I want to live in.
Yeah, I get it. I just lost my train of thought. I was about to mention something, but now it's gone. So maybe it'll come back later. I don't know.
Worst case scenario, we can start talking about Robocop.
True.
Or we could end up shooting the shit about retro consoles for probably a solid 3 hours.
Yeah, because I I got an original copy of Ocarina of Time again. I got that out of a big flea market a couple of weeks ago. I got a copy of Majora's Mask original for like $40,
nice.
which was pretty cheap from what I've seen, or pretty normal price. It's
Yeah,
like
you could the resale value on that might be quite a bit higher if you hang on to it.
well,
for
this
even
one
year
has
or
like a
two.
little crack in it. It's a little bit
okay.
damaged, but I don't really care. I just wanted a physical copy of it. And then it came back to me. It's like, oh damn, you need a expansion pack for that fucking game to play. And I checked their online markets, and those fuckers go for $50 if you're lucky. Those
I think I could probably tell you why, because I remember those things when they came out and thinking they seemed a little weird because the idea of upgrading a console was just sort of not a thing unless you were going to add a CD drive to it. But this is just like, oh, this is just like a memory card or something you toss into the top of the thing. And I don't think a lot of people bought them because the only game that really took advantage of it from my memory was Perfect Dark. And
Yeah.
maybe Majora's Mask. I don't remember Majora's Mask requiring one.
oh
did
yeah,
it?
you need one. You can't play the game
Oh,
otherwise.
okay. Yeah,
So,
maybe
so now I
there
have the
are a
game,
few
but
out
I
in the
can't
wild
play
there.
it.
Yeah, I guess I kind of thought it was just the people that were bored enough of GoldenEye that they decided to buy Perfect Dark who had one. But I guess if Majora's Mask is there, there's a lot of people that will buy pretty much anything if it's required to play a Zelda game.
Yeah, I definitely want one because I just want it for me. There's like knockoff ones, but I've read online they can be kind of sketchy, so I'm not sure if I want to pull the trigger on that one. Then again, they're only like $15 or something, so it might be worth a shot.
Isn't it just like it's basically like 8
It's a
gigs
memory
of-
ex- it's a- yeah, it's a
like
memory
not even
expansion.
gigs. Isn't it like 256 megs of RAM that
Yeah.
you're essentially throwing into the thing? That's like that should be really cheap from like the
Yeah,
if you were gonna
but it
pull
says
off the
Nintendo on the
part.
on the thing,
Yeah,
and it's
that's the
it's
thing.
collector's value and stuff. Yeah. Also, another thing I would like, I want a copy of Azura's Wrath again. And I checked, and that fucking game
that's-
goes for expensive as well.
Yeah, it's that's another one of those things that the world wasn't ready for Azura's Wrath.
And when someone in chat reminded me when I was streaming talking about, it's like, oh, but what are you gonna do about those DLCs that actually ended the game? I was like, fuck, there's no way for me to get those. Because
step into my emulation office. We'll
I
talk.
mean, yeah, I'm currently playing Majora's Mask on stream with my emulator. That's
I mean, is it that my thing even is like I've taken to over the last year essentially, not even like 6 months since Metroid Dread was the first one I did, but games on Nintendo Switch I will now buy because I'm like, okay, if this is a game that I want to support the developers of, even though I think Nintendo's kind of scummy, I'll be like, okay, this like I don't know, like Metroid Dread for the easiest example. Kirby's Forgotten Land was another one I picked up where I bought a copy of the game, but I have not played it once on my Switch because I'll just emulate it where I can, for Kirby at least, bump the frame rate up to 60 FPS, run it in 4K or like higher resolutions, and have control options with on Steam Deck. It's kind of wild for playing old console first person shooters because you can at any point use Steam to map the gyroscope, like the motion control aiming, to either be a mouse if you're not emulating, but if you're running a Steam game that doesn't have built-in gyro support, or the joystick if it's an old, say, PlayStation 2 first-person shooter.
Yeah.
So what's kind of nuts, it's like, oh man, you're now getting to the point that I can play these old games with sort of close to pinpoint mouse aiming, like with the gyroscope in combination with
crazy.
an analog stick, and it's like, oh man, this is kind of better. I really wish a lot of these companies would just like sell you the license to the game and you could just run it on whatever machine can run it. And if you
wish
try to run it on
Nintendo-
something that's not quite powerful enough, it's like, you didn't make it. But
I wish especially Nintendo would give me the option to buy their damn games, because I
yes,
want
I-
a lot of them those games. I was like, oh, I want to play Majora's Mask. Wait, wasn't there like an emulation thing from themselves? It's like, yeah, on Switch, but you have to buy the premium subscription, otherwise you can't get it ever. It's like, oh, cool. No, fuck off.
yeah, I know the idea of a Game Pass, which is effectively what the Nintendo Switch Online is. It's like the same thing as Xbox Game Pass, but for older Nintendo games, where you have no option to buy the game, is where I'm like, oh god, why are you making that be the thing? Because I mean, you could say you're a guy who hasn't played a Nintendo system in forever. and you bought a Switch because someone wanted to play like Smash Brothers or Mario Kart with you or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It would be really cool if it's like, oh man, I should replay Ocarina of Time. I love that game when I was a kid.
Yeah.
It's like, I've got $20 in my pocket, ready to buy an N64 ROM directly from Nintendo. And it's like, okay, yeah, you can pay us $20, but you got to pay us $20 every couple months for the next all of time if you want to continue playing this. It's like, oh, okay, so if you want to do the hey, I'll just sign up for a month thing, better remember to cancel it, or you better finish that game within inside of the month. It's like, oh man, just let me pay you $30, which is like a few months of your service, and just own this game and nothing else.
Yeah,
like, give me that option.
Here's the really stupid thing: on the Wii U, you were already able to buy them all in emulation software. They had the things. It's already
and
there.
Wii, for that matter, the Virtual Console. They were kind of the first people to do that. Funny enough.
And I remember the prices were like reasonable as well. I think you could get Ocarina of Time for like $15 on that emulation software or something like that.
Yeah,
maybe even less.
All the prices were pretty good. A lot of people had big, huge Virtual Console collections on both Wii and Wii U.
Yeah, because I was actually
Switch, and they're like,
I was considering just getting a Wii U, and then I saw, oh, they're gonna shut down the network soon. It's like, oh, great, so that's not a thing I can do anymore.
Just make all the purchases you think you're ever going to want to make, and then load them all onto some SD cards and hope you don't lose them.
It's insane. You can't even listen to Nintendo music anywhere. You can't buy the OSTs. They don't have a streaming platform for it. It's insane. Nintendo, I want to give you money, but you have to be reasonable. Yes, I still haven't played Bayonetta. We're on
the same page with this.
I still haven't played Bayonetta 2 because it's still $60 after all these years.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, and Bayonetta 3 comes out soon.
Yeah, I know. I was actually on the Nintendo of America Twitter page for the announcement of the Bayonetta 3 Collector's Edition, and someone was like, yeah, it's still a Nintendo exclusive that like no one's gonna buy. And I was there, like, exclusive to Nintendo hardware or something like that. I was like, I don't know about that. And then I just posted a picture of my Steam Deck showing like Super Mario Galaxy, Mario Galaxy 2, Mario Odyssey. And so some people were pretty up in arms about it. They're like, you're just a pirate. I was like, own the games and dump the ROMs, but I guess I'm a pirate for buying games and running them somewhere else.
Yeah.
Try to be as ethical as you can with emulation, but I mean, ultimately, if it's a game from like 30 years ago that you can't functionally buy a new copy of, if you sail the high seas for that, I don't think anyone could really say anything. It's like, okay, where am I going to go buy a copy of this?
Yeah, I'm going to have to scour some of my electronic markets because they tend to have at least sales on their games sometimes, because Nintendo Electronic Store, they just don't have any sales. And if they have sales, they're like pathetic.
Yeah, it's like, oh, good news. Splatoon 3 is coming out, so Splatoon 2 is on sale. Instead of being $70, it is $55.
Ooh, what a...
Oh, okay. How could I not buy it?
What a steal. Someone asked earlier what your favorite retro system is. Ours.
That's kind of a tough one. Yeah. I guess the one I primarily grew up with was a Super NES, like Super Nintendo. Although I think probably PlayStation 1 was the one that really kind of turned me into like a serious gamer. And but funny enough, it's like a game that now kind of seems to have taught the industry all the wrong lessons. But Metal Gear Solid was the first time I was like, oh, they can like actually tell like a proper story that's almost like a movie with this. And now I'm in a position where I'm on YouTube every so often complaining about the fact that all the Sony exclusives are just trying as hard as they can to be movies and forgetting to be games. So I don't know, maybe Metal Gear taught the world the wrong lessons.
I don't think, because I know my first ever gaming memory is from the Super Nintendo. I was like a really tiny boy child, and I think I was playing Lufia 2.
I have never played that game.
that's like a really, I think it's a pretty well-known JRPG. I think it's from Squaresoft as well.
Oh, really?
I think actually.
I wonder if it has a different. It might have a different title.
I was about to think about it, because I think only Lufia 2 came out. Lufia 2: Rise of the Sinistrals.
Only wait. Is it Mother in Japan, and is it?
No, it's not the Mother games. No.
Okay, yeah, because I know that we only got like the second one of a series, and Earthbound, at least Earthbound as it was released here, which I think is Mother 2, is like one of the most beloved JRPGs ever, and they never ported the sequel.
Yeah. No, it's just Lufia 2, Rise of the Sinistrals.
Is it good?
I'll just link you the thingy. I think it's still pretty solid. I haven't played it in a long time.
Yeah, I think I've seen that cover before. I don't think I ever played the game, but that is familiar to me. That box art.
Yeah, but then I mostly got I was like a little PlayStation cuck.
As many are these days.
I always had. I think I started with the PS1. We had an N64 too, though. But when I was getting older, I always got the PlayStation ones before I had like a proper PC. So I think the most games I probably played on the PS2, I think. Yeah, probably like PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, one of the two. I can't decide right now. Gun to the head, PS2, I would probably say PS2 because I have the most
PS2,
memories of that.
Xbox, GameCube era was my like high school years. So that was probably the era I was playing the most like couch co-op games. Things like that.
Because I still have all my physical copies here because I got them all back from my dad's garage because they were there and I put them all in a drawer over here. So yeah, I'm gonna be doing some stuff here for my little retro station. All I'm missing is a recliner, but I don't think I have space to put a recliner in here as well.
like a big easy chair or a
I don't know,
couch?
just a nice recliner like I had back in the day, just to get all them feels.
I have made a couch streaming setup that I do when I stream Elden Ring.
Yeah, I saw that.
And,
looks very comfy, actually. I'm kind of jealous.
No, it's a good setup. Although actually, Earl and I we went for lunch because we were going to go out for a date for dinner tonight, but then she forgot that she invited her friend over. So it's like, okay, well, let's save our romantic date for another time. She's like, no, let's go to lunch, and that's why I was almost late for this stream. But it's cool, we made it.
Yeah, so good.
But yeah, she was saying like, we could keep doing our streams that we do on the couch, but also I feel like people want to see our reactions and they can't really see our face. And I'm like, I might have to hook up like my DSLR that I used to use at the computer and then just use a telephoto lens and get really, really high level on something that should be pretty simple, like just hopping on the couch and playing video games.
Yeah.
I have constant production issues though, so who knows how well it's going to work.
Oh, okay. Well, while you're already talking about that, I had a little scour through a little channel of yours and just had a look-see what you're up to. Because when someone's new here, I just ask them the standard question, and then people just talk. How did you start? What did you do? I think you mostly did streams in the past 3 years, from what I could tell.
I'd say primarily as far as like my streams are how I've been able to stay present on my channel because I'm not as good as Mauler, but I'm sort of like Mauler or Regs in the sense that my desire to make YouTube videos is focused on really thinking something out and editing it well and putting things together. Like I don't think I'd be very good at like cranking out 4 videos a day on whatever Kotaku and Polygon said that was stupid. Like I know a lot of people have that skill set and it's much more algorithm friendly, I guess is probably the best way to say it.
Yeah, because you can just stay on top of the on topic things, like the current topics.
You can surf the algorithm as well. I sort of prefer to dig in a bit more, and there was a good stretch of time once I got started actually just doing it as the most casual of hobbies, because have you ever played a Yakuza game like Yakuza 0?
Oh yeah, I fucking love the Yakuza games. Not a big fan of the newer one, the RPG one.
I liked it quite a bit.
That one didn't struck for me at all. No, I stopped at some point. I got really bored because it just didn't.
It's the writing in it and the story is the real hook with Like a Dragon. So if you're not crazy about the combat and that doesn't pull you,
that's a problem. I wanted to do a lot of combat, but they just kept talking all the time. And I don't mind listening to the people talk because there's funny stuff in it, but that one really stretched it for me. Like I was like almost 20 hours deep and I still got new characters introduced and I was like, God damn, I just want to scour the city and do those crazy side missions.
Yeah, I mean, they're like that is, I think, the one thing that the structure of the Yakuza games or Yakuza, I keep on forgetting how to pronounce
Mm.
it. I think I always say Yakuza if I'm just saying the word alone, but if I say another word after it, I default to Yakuza. So I don't know exactly. I'm wired for that weird, but I think that those games strike a pretty good mix for the most part of having side quests that are totally silly and kind of off the wall and make
Mm.
no sense, where you like get in. You find a fetish house where there's a bunch of guys who like being treated like babies. And
Oh
then
yeah,
you
I
gotta
got to
fight a
that.
bunch of
I got to that part. I
Yeah,
played that on stream. That was funny.
yeah. Those guys.
Those
Are
were the
in,
parts
I
where I
think
was like really enjoying the game because like yeah, this is great. But I don't know.
Yeah, it gets pretty zany, but I think the Yakuza games do a pretty good job of like hammering home their emotional moments when the time is right. Like, and the stories usually come together in a way that make me want to keep playing them. I still haven't
Mm.
finished all of them. In fact, I kind of fell off Kiwami 2 and never really got back to it. But I played Zero, all of Kiwami, most of Kiwami 2, and Like a Dragon. And Like a Dragon I just
Yeah.
played because I got it on sale and I ended up liking it quite a bit, like hammering out the game really fast, and then I did a review on it for Geeks and Gamers. But I guess we'll get to where I got there. Is I played Yakuza 0, and it was the first one I had ever played, and I really really liked it. So I started talking to a buddy of mine, Fonz, who's a cool guy. Fonz, he's on my channel where we do a podcast every so often. Though he's been busy with recent fatherhood and school, so I haven't been harping on him too much to do new episodes.
Fair enough.
But I told him, he was like, yeah, what are you playing these days? I was like, yo, I just finished this game, Yakuza 0. It was amazing. And he's like, should I play it? And then I'm just like, no. He's like, why? I was like, I think you'll hate it. He's like, you just said it was amazing. I was like, it's really good. It's very, very good. But it is so weird, and you kind of have to get into its style in a way that I don't think is going to click with you at all. But you know what? Here, I had Adobe Premiere because I think I got it on like a Black Friday sale, and I hadn't video edited in a long time.
Yeah.
And I kind of was looking to pick up a new hobby, so I was like, tell you what, I was capturing a bunch of footage of this game as I was playing it, so I have like basically the whole game recorded. I'll edit together a little video review for you.
Oh,
And it
cool.
was on like my previous channel, like that was just my name that I've now shortened to just my name and last initial because X-Ray Girl doesn't like people knowing my real name. But,
Fair enough.
yeah, and I sent it to him, and then I just posted on like a gaming Facebook group that we were both in, and a bunch of people liked it. They're like, "Yo, you should make more of these." And I think it was I think like the next week or two, Plague Tale: Innocence came out, and I was like, "This game looks good, and I think it's going to be pretty short. I'll challenge myself to like making a little review of this so that I can get see if I can do a video on a game relatively close to its launch time." So I made the Plague Tale video, and then I did another one on this game Project Warlock that I just decided to play. And then I did one on Bloodstained Curse of the Moon, which was like the 8-bit stretch goal Kickstarter thing for that
Okay.
Castlevania spiritual successor. And it was the reason I mentioned that one specifically, even though it was just like my 4th video or something, is at that time I was on Twitter and saw someone reply to Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers and say, "Hey, your channel's called Geeks and Gamers, but you guys don't have any gaming content. Like, what the hell's up with that?" And I was like, "I make gaming content." And then I linked to my Curse of the Moon review. And then like 10 minutes later, Jeremy DMs me and he's like, "Hey, do you want to make video game reviews for me?"
Oh, nice.
I'm like, okay. Okay. I was like, I'm still kind of new at this. I mean, I try to hit a high standard with my editing and stuff, but I didn't think I was necessarily like applying for a job or anything at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I made a few just retro Star Wars reviews of like Force Unleashed and Republic Commando and the Jedi Knight games and a few others. And then Jeremy was like, "Hey, like I want you to be doing weekly videos for me if you can." And I was like, "Okay, cool," because I kind of had the bug at that point. And spent a year, roughly a year, maybe a little bit more, knocking out at least one video a week.
Damn.
Until I just kind of started feeling some burnout with it. And I was like, I feel like I'm really just not investing enough time into these games to really analyze them. And I'm doing almost kind of the types of video games review I hated, which were the IGN 3-minute ones where it's just kind of it explains to you the box art and then just says 7 out of 10. And that's actually one of the reasons why I never once put a score on one of my reviews. Cause I'm like, look, I don't want the point of my reviews to be skip to the end and look at the number.
Yeah.
I want you guys to hear my arguments, because I might be talking about how cool I think a game is, but I'll tell you the things about it, and you could watch my review and say, oh, that doesn't sound like my kind of thing at all. Like, I don't want you to think you need to buy this game because I put a 9 at the end of this video.
Yeah.
You know, like, and so then I told Jeremy, I was like, hey, I need to slow down on this stuff. I'd really prefer to do a bit more of an in-depth video that can have a bit more substance to it. So I made this retrospective of the whole Quake series where I went through every single Quake game, and he really loved that. So I did another one on God of War.
Oh, nice.
And and then things started really taking off for Geeks and Gamers in a few other areas. So he didn't really need my help with a lot of stuff. So I was like, I think I'll take a step back and start working on my own channel a bit more. And
Fair enough.
and I've been working on a video on Metroid for the last 9 months, because I started a course. I'm in the Army, and I started a military medicine course to get myself a new medic qualification in September, and that was until February. And so I didn't get a whole lot of work done on Metroid in that time. I finished playing all the games and finished my script, but I didn't do the editing. And then right when February hit, Elden Ring came out. So now I've got a Metroid retrospective totally recorded, even though I need to, and the audio is edited. I just got to finish editing all the video on the last 2/3 of it. And then I have a 20,000 word Elden Ring script, which is about 3,000 words longer than the Metroid one, and only about one game. So I'm a fledgling longman, I guess.
Nice. That's what I like to hear.
That brings us up to date, I guess. I've been on EFAP a few times, and that's how I know Metalcommander.
Yeah, it's not only a debut here, it's the debut of this combination of people in a stream.
Yes, indeed.
That's how this goes. Yeah, good stuff. I was thinking, I don't really okay, calm down, throat, it's all good. I was thinking if I missed a question here, but I don't think there was anything else. I think it was it was Robocop and wrestling. Remember when Robocop saved Sting from the Four Horsemen in 89, the year of my birth? Good times. I do remember that. That was good times.
I do not. I've never been a big wrestling guy, though I am aware of who Sting is. I kind of think of him as the Crow guy.
That's that's him. He's still around. He's doing AEW stuff now. He's still going strong. You gotta
wonder how some of these wrestlers last that long. Like, who I think. Yeah, I mean, I imagine you've seen the Mickey Rourke movie, The Wrestler.
I covered it right here on the Forge. Where
I didn't catch that episode, but yeah, no, it's a good movie and really makes you think of what those guys go through.
And it's pretty darn accurate because I'm super into wrestling. And I watched it from that context, and I was like, yeah, that checks out from everything I've heard from podcasts from actual wrestlers and stuff, how the independent scene works and stuff. So yeah, I was really impressed. It was really nice because
my only experience with wrestling is just training Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and a couple of guys that I train with do I guess technically professional because they get paid, but it's sort of amateur circuit wrestling where it is the kind of WWE style of it's staged and they do. It's basically a stunt show essentially, but
okay, cool.
Sometimes they get pretty roughed up. Like my buddy Jake O'Reilly is his wrestler name, and he'll just be like, "Oh yeah," he's like, "I got suplexed and really hit my neck hard." He's like, "It was my fault though. I just didn't position my head in the right way on the way down." And I was like, "That's its own skill set, man. Like it's." I know that there is the inclination for people to be like, "Oh, wrestling, it's fake. Like these guys, they're not real fighters." It's like, I don't know. I've actually fought Bill. He's pretty good at fighting, and I think that the skill set of wrestling is more in the doing things so that they look as real as possible without actually hurting yourself or another person.
Oh, they still hurt each other.
Oh yeah,
basically every time.
without seriously, because the way they're looking like they're hitting each other. I'll tell you this: I've seen enough real fights that those guys should be knocked out several punches earlier than they are.
Oh yeah, if it starts with punches, that's where the disbelief has to come in, I guess. I like I would describe it as like its own universe with some distinct rules you have to accept. Because obviously, if you punch,
the same spiel I give for people for watching like Dragon Ball Z. The Dragon Ball Z is like WWE for nerds, and anime is nothing but redneck. Or sorry, wrestling is nothing but redneck anime.
Yeah. Oh, I rewatched the original Dragon Ball. I think beginning of the year, end of last year. Man, I do love it, but I forgot how actually awful it is.
Yeah, no, it's like Dragon Ball is not good, but it is lots of fun.
Dude, I watched this like, holy shit, what are these episodes? This is like really bad.
Oh yeah, you get a lot of filler episodes, especially in early anime. That's actually why
the episode structures as well. There's so much things that just don't even work. Like, oh, it's incredible.
I think a lot of that, especially in the early days, they were just pretty much directly adapting manga to the anime.
Yeah.
Or if they weren't directly adapting of it, they were trying to flesh things out, hence the fillers. But have you heard of the newer anime Spy Family? Or Spy X Family?
I've only heard about it. That's just the big thing.
That anime has it's I think it's the 6th episode or so. I might be wrong. It's the one where they go to the castle, if anyone's watching it. That show has a filler episode that absolutely is a filler episode because it adds almost nothing to the story. But it's the most fun episode of the season. Like, it's 12 episodes so far that are out. So I'm just like, oh, that's the best filler episode I've ever seen because it's so much fun and it's so good and kind of does add a little bit to the characters and just seeing how they react to the situation that they're presented with, even if no real character arcs are resolved or major developments happen. It's just like, no, this is just a good kind of snapshot of what this guy's like when he's in this sort of situation. And it's a very fun premise, but I'd recommend checking that show out if you like the Japanese motion pictures.
Yeah, I always go rewatch Dragon Ball Z every couple of years just because I have nostalgia for it. I do quite enjoy it. But I tend to skip a lot of the in-between stuff these days because, like, man, it's not even fun to watch. It's just like, okay, come on, I just want to go to the next yelling or something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, these days, I guess the online communities around anime are big enough that you could pretty easily Google up a Dragon Ball abridged episode list thing, be like, hey, what are the important episodes I need to watch?
Official Dragon Ball abridged thingy that they made.
Oh, do you mean like the comedy ones where they?
No, not the comedy ones. I think they made like an official one. I think.
Oh, you're probably talking about Dragon Ball Z Kai.
Yeah, wasn't that like an abridged thingy?
Yeah, that was it was retranslated, I believe. And some people have issues with Funimation is the one who did the English translation for it. Do you watch? Actually, out of curiosity, do you watch things with German subtitles or with
English? I basically don't watch anything in German. I find German dubs cringe.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't like live action dubs of English. So like if I'm watching like a Korean show, I want them to be speaking Korean. But anime, sometimes I can get away with liking the dub. I think Spy Family is a lot better subbed than it is dubbed. X-Ray was watching it dubbed. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, though, and the original Full Metal Alchemist are really good dubbed. Same with Cowboy Bebop's another really famous example of like, the dub for that's actually really solid.
Yeah. That's another one I need to rewatch. I haven't watched Cowboy Bebop in forever.
That's a show that I think a lot of people don't really know what they're getting into when they go into it because they're thinking it's going to be like one of this epic story that's like a Star Wars type deal. And it's really kind of a series of individual little episodes and stories. Like there's not really a consistent arc in any big meaningful way. And I think that's why granted the production value and the casting and everything were a little off too, but the Netflix show could never have worked because Netflix shows are not really based around serialized content where it's like 22 minutes, a really tightly written story. You have the character who's the regular character you follow, meets a new character that you're introduced to, is developed, they go on an adventure, the adventure ends, and then you never see that character again, or if you do, it's in a totally different context several episodes later. And I don't think Netflix live action is a great format for that. Whereas 22-minute animes, it's more like Cowboy Bebop episodes. A good way of looking at it is each one's like an issue of a comic. No. It's not part 1 of 4. It's just a one shot. This is 22 minutes. It starts and then it ends. I think there's like 1 or 2 2-part episodes in the entire series of like 26. So.
Oh boy. Man, we covered all kinds of stuff already.
Yeah, we're supposed to be talking about Robocop.
Robo who? What?
Ames Murphy.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Anyway, shall we jump into the Cop of the Robos?
Let's do it.
Let's see. Wait, there's one thing here. Metal was the Thing movie you and Mala liked from John Carpenter because I liked it, but I don't know if I watched the right movie. I think the Carpenter one is the really good one. I think.
Yes.
Hang on, let me check.
If you go to Quarter Black Eric's channel, there's a stream of he and I doing exactly this about that movie. One-on-one movie talk about John Carpenter's The Thing.
Let's see here. Because I think 1986. That must be the one that we watched from 1986.
Yep. 1986 with Kurt Russell and Keith David.
Yeah, that's the one I watched. I think I watched that with Mala when I was last over there. I think.
Fantastic movie.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Best
Holds up.
sci-fi horror movies of all time.
Holds up incredible. The effects as well. The effects are really.
Do you know who else? What else the guy who did the effects for The Thing did the effects for?
Oh, is it Robocop by any chance?
Robocop.
Oh
yes.
my god.
Rob Bottin designed the Robocop armor at the very least. I don't know if he did ED-209 as well. I think it was Phil Tippett that did that one, but. No, Bottin definitely did the RoboCop suit and all the effects in The Thing, except for the mutated dog. The mutated dog that's like in the dog pen at the beginning. I think that was it was the kind of wasn't Phil Tippett. It was one of the other big effects guys that slip in my mind, and the second someone says it, I'm going to feel like an idiot. Anyways, I'll get to it in a second, but it's one of those things that it often all the effects get attributed to the super famous guy that did the one effect, but Rob Bottin is the one who did the vast majority of the effects in John Carpenter's The Thing.
All right. Well, that's some little tidbits for you, Chad, and for me. But yeah. Robocop. Let me get some moving things on screen. I put the little loop-de-loop in, so I can just talk about that when we get to the thing. Not the movie, but the end of the loop. Anyway, let's see. Wait, did I put all the intro to... Hang on. I made a mistake with the loop. I put all the production things with in there as well.
Hey, if you need a minute, let me know if you want me to vamp.
Let's see. Oh, there you go. There's the title of the Cop of the Robos. Because we get a lot of info in the first couple of minutes just by going through the police station, and I quite like it. There we go. That's better. Boom. Right, I guess I'm just gonna go ahead. So we start with a news program with the catchphrase, yes. You give us 3 minutes, we give you the world.
We'll give you the world.
And we immediately see like contrasting stuff going on. It's like, oh, nuclear escalation. And then after that, oh, funny story of a harmless space station outage. It gives the president some floaty times.
And the South African apartheid, the government has found that they got a French neutron bomb to use to stop it resist, and they're just casually talking about it as if it's like like Scruffy the dog won the dog show, and but there is a bit of world building that's very relevant to the plot in it too, because then they talk about the industrialized hearts, like the Yamaha heart that you can get.
Yeah.
And they're like, and remember, we care.
Yeah, it's the ad breaks. It's like, oh, you can even choose your own heart. And remember, we care. And then right after that, we go back to the news station. Police shooting. Someone got shot. Officer Fredrickson. Easy for me to say.
Which that's the thing. It's like both of those things are doing a fair amount of setup for the actual story, though, because you have cybernetic hearts are a thing, and if the heart, which is the most complex organ that we have other than our brains, is something that can be simulated with machines at this point, and the movie's called Robocop. It's like, oh, okay. That's so he might be almost entirely robot. And then the next thing that comes up is the current state of Detroit is one in which being a police officer is getting close to being a certain death sentence.
Yep.
Like cops are getting killed constantly and no one seems to care. So I was like off the bat in this interstitial kind of almost comedy sequence that they have at the beginning of the movie. You in like the first 2 minutes, you get some pretty important information that I think is pretty cool to see.
And even like this media outlet, whoever they are, they go like, good luck, Mr. Fredrickson. Even like this hand gesture, we have like the fisting from left to right. Good luck, officer. Like it's nothing. Yeah. Like it feels like they're so used to this happening. It's like
it's the world now. It's like, another cop got killed in Detroit. And anyway, in other news.
Yeah, it's we already see the world is fucked in this universe. But we're also in a pretty advanced universe with like futuristic tech going on.
It's basically a cyberpunk kind of world. Like the corporations are getting an insane amount of power. In fact, the main, I guess, premise as to why they did a pretty decent job of making this the reason why Robocop could be introduced to the Detroit Police Department, which is effectively he's a product.
Yeah, is
that they establish even before Robocop or ED-209 or any of it are introduced that OCP has purchased the Detroit Police Station. Yeah. So it's like, oh, okay, well, a corporation now runs the cops.
Runs
so it's
the cops.
Private police force. So.
And they're not happy about it. Also, I realized, I think I actually never seen this movie before. I thought this was a movie that I've seen a long time ago and just forgot most about it. But when I watched through it, like, I don't remember anything of this. I don't think I've ever watched this movie.
Oh, yeah.
I was like,
you're in for a treat then.
Oh, yeah, because I was like, oh man, this movie is much more insane than I thought it would be. But in an entertaining way.
And like, I don't know. I think the satire and over the top violence and like sci-fi elements, they're all there. But I think the critical element that makes this movie really good is there's a solid character story underneath there.
Yeah.
And I think that it's one that easily could have been missed if it wasn't for Peter Weller's performance. Because a lot of people, I think, especially people that are my age and maybe did watch Robocop a bunch of times growing up, kind of think of the Robocop voice in their memory as your move, creep, and it's just monotone, totally robotic, no emotion. But when you watch the movie with like an analytical eye, like trying to actually pick apart, okay, what makes this movie good, you realize that he is adding just enough personality into his deliveries, just enough so that he still seems like primarily he's an emotionless robot that's been reconstructed by a corporation, but there's also a man underneath that. Like there's a guy with a heart and a brain and a soul. It's a pretty heartwarming story in a lot of ways, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, after this we go to the police station and get some stuff going on there.
It's like a circus in there.
It's a mess. So we immediately see some lawyer try to convince like the sarge of the police station, oh, let my client go on bail. We can give you cash right now. And he's like, and then he says a great line. Your client is a scumbag. You're a scumbag, and scumbags see the judge on Monday morning. Now get out of here.
Yeah, the sergeant, like Sergeant Reed. I think Sergeant Reed's his name. The black dude. They immediately establish him at being like the moral center of that police station. Like he's just like, no, I don't care what you're trying to offer me. You're not like, this was a very clear attempted murder. You're not arguing it down to aggravated assault. Like get out of my police station.
Yeah.
And in the next scene, which is one thing that I think is really cool about this intro too, is you have the newscast thing at the beginning. It's sort of an interstitial. Like if that, it happens a couple times in the middle of the movie, but it kind of feels disconnected from the movie. Like it's not like we open on Murphy at his house with his wife and kid watching this newscast. We're presented the newscast as if the newscast is the movie right now. And it goes from that to the police station where we're following Murphy essentially through the police station with the that intro, like with the two lawyers being the only exception because Murphy walks in right after that.
Yeah.
And we follow him through, I think, 3 or 4 locations in the police station, but there's no time gap between them. So it's he comes in, they go to the locker room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I think that's it. It's a really good way to do a lot of establishing stuff without being like, oh, okay, now we're having this be over the course of the next several weeks, and we're doing a lot of scenes that don't matter at all. Like, it's like, no, it's this conversation here that's like helping set up the world, that like paying off cops is almost the norm, and this one sergeant is the guy that's like, no, forget that. I'm not about that kind of policing at all.
Yeah.
And then when they're talking in the locker room and the police officers say, yeah, we should strike, he's like, you're not plumbers. You're police officers, and police officers don't strike, which actually kind of comes up in Robocop 2 a bit, which talk about it another day, I'm sure. But, yeah, I think that just it was kind of crazy even for me that I've seen this movie probably about 40 or 50 times at this point. Like, I've watched Robocop a lot through the course of my life.
Okay.
And, I mean, just from when I was like 6 years old, and I'm 38 now, I've probably watched it a couple times a year for, however, it's rough math, but let's say 20 to be safe.
Yeah.
Let's say 20 times to be safe. But it was watching it this time. It was the first time I actually was like thinking about taking notes to be like, okay, why do you like this movie so much?
That happens a lot.
I was like, man, there's like the world building and the character establishment that happens here is so efficient and gets you where you need to be for what's effectively like a superhero, even though a tragic superhero origin story, without anything feeling unnecessary at all. And I don't know, I thought that was really cool. How did you think, being your I guess effective first viewing, even if you saw it and forgot it?
Well, I immediately noticed, just going through that scene, it was like, there was so much going on, I have to watch it again and also need subtitles, because there's so much chatter going on, I can not hear everything, but I obviously have everything in here, and yeah, I'm basically on the same page. We get a lot of information that is really good, and also things that people do and talk about in this scenario make a lot of sense, because Murphy gets in, telling the officer, yeah, I've been transferred from another precinct. And he's like, oh, yeah, it's nice there. It's like, yeah, it's great. And he just gets told, well, you work here for a living, so get your shit and fuck off, basically. It's like, oh, okay, so we're probably short on people here. And then we see him go into those locker rooms. We hear some chatter in the background where they're talking about the condition of Fredrickson, and that he's apparently still critical. So at this point, they don't know yet that he's dead.
Yeah.
And then we get this other guy coming in. He's called Manson. He introduces himself to Murphy. He asks him what brings him to paradise. Obviously joking, because this is hell. And it's like, oh yeah, I was moved here from OCP. They seem to be moving a lot of new guys here now. Because we know Detroit is a shithole here right now. And then there's like some other guy on the phone. I don't even know what he's doing, but he's just finishing up, and he's like, the Omni consumer products. What a bunch of morons. They just manage us straight into the ground. And yeah, that's obviously for us to know what OCP means. I actually didn't make the connection the first time. It's like, wait, Omni? Because it was like, oh, OCP. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. But that was just me being stupid.
For the longest time, I honestly thought that was just the logo or something for whatever the government was in Detroit, because I wasn't really processing the idea of like corporatization of police. And it's one of those, like, this is one of those movies that I loved when I was a kid, but it gets better as I've rewatched it as I've gotten older. Yeah. And I think that's why I watch it so frequently, because it's very often I'll meet a new friend. If they haven't seen it, I'll be like, oh, we're watching this.
Yeah. And then Manson asks him where Murphy is from. He says, oh, I'm from Metro South. And I was like, well, welcome to hell. And while he just goes there, he gets the other Murphy. Is like, yo. And it's like, he gets his armor or flak jacket or whatever you want to call it. I think they call it an armor. At least the Sarge says he should get his armor. But it looks more like kind of a flak jacket. I don't know.
It's interesting to think that this is a world where the police are just, their normal uniform is riot gear.
Yeah, pretty much.
At all times, they're like fully armored up.
Yeah, and I think that somewhere in there, we hear some lady says like, oh, I wasn't able to get like a med evac while I was in the jam, and then it's like, oh, just try to get a med evac in general. So basically, even if people are like in trouble, they have like a hard time to even get medical attention, even if they're police officer, because they're just so on the clock, everyone.
Yeah.
There's just so much information in those, like, I don't know, 2 minutes of screen time, 2.5.
Yeah.
When
It's
you
an
walk through
interesting
there, it's
concept too, because
awesome.
you think of the idea of private insurance companies that aren't like that. Maybe it's this specific precinct is connected to this one, and it's like when you have that kind of interest who's worried about lowering costs, you have police shooting here. It's like, where was he hit? How fast do we need to get EMS out there? I don't know. Is this worth us even sending anybody? Can he drive to the hospital? It's like, well, maybe you should just be like, no, police officer shot. Send all your resources. That might be the better bet.
Yeah. And then we have the guy from the phone going like, maybe we should go on strike. Fuck him. And right when he says that, the police sarge comes in. And that creates an awkward silence at first. And he just walks straight up to Frederick's locker and takes off the nameplate. And telling us without saying a word that Fredrickson is dead. And everyone is just like looking at it and it's like, and they're all like, they're not happy. They're like, oh man.
But they're quiet and they're listening to what the sergeant is going to say.
And also, this just tells us like, oh, damn. That's a pretty common occurrence, huh? You knew exactly what was going to happen. And he just says, funeral is tomorrow, and OCP requests that all officers not on duty will attend it. Donations to the family go to Cecil, as always.
Yeah,
it's
as
like,
in this is happening often enough that there's a guy who is specifically tasked with taking donations for dead cops' families.
Yeah, it paints a quite dire picture for the city. This city is quite fucked up with crime and violence and whatnot.
And I think that's countered in an interesting way by Murphy's demeanor in this scene, because he seems, at least the way I always got the impression of, is you could immediately tell that he was a good cop as far as like his skill goes, but he doesn't seem like a cocky hotshot.
No,
he immediately gives us this air like he's confident and humble. So he's like, yeah, no, he's like, it's the job. Yeah, I'm here to work, and I'm good at what I do. And that's sort of how he carries himself through all the scenes in which he's human at the beginning here. So it adds a lot, because I think that we've gotten to a point where a lot of modern movies are not thinking too hard about, is my hero likable? And if not, what can I do to make him more likable, or her for that matter?
Let me get another character who says, I like this character, the new one.
You're the most talented person I've ever met. I'll take your word for it, but Murphy seemed to like convey that confidence just with how he was walking, how he was interacting with cops from a rough precinct who he'd never met before, and he didn't seem at all intimidated by anyone. He wasn't being a dick, but he was just like, I'm here to do my job, whatever, cool. Here's my locker. Much. All right, cool. Yeah, nice to see you. And I don't know, I think Peter Weller just knocks it out of the park in this movie. I might be saying that repeatedly through this stream, because I think it's a very underrated performance.
Yeah. Someone in chat just said, you need a memory store. Oh god, that fucking memory store. I can't believe they made that. Anyway, and then also the Sarge goes on to say as well, it's like he doesn't want to hear anything but strikes anymore. And as you already said, then we're not plumbers, we're police officers, and police officers don't strike.
Well, I mean, and it's a really interesting comment on the concept of privatized police, because if you have totally private police, like with no legal mandate to be like, no, you guys have a set of rules that are not the same as all other industries, because you're a critical aspect of this society. Because as you have you seen Robocop 2? I'm guessing you haven't if you just watched this one. Okay. No. Robocop 2 is a movie a lot of people hate. Okay. I found out last night that Gary Nerdrotic likes it, and I think he's the only person other than me who has stated I like Robocop 2.
Okay.
Because it's not as good. It's not nearly as good. I think Robocop, the original Robocop 87 one, not the remake that's also just called Robocop, is a flat out masterpiece, and Robocop 2 is just kind of a interesting sequel. I wouldn't say it's great or amazing, but I think there's stuff going on, and they do tackle the concept of the the police strike and what that does to the city of Detroit, and what kind of role it gives RoboCop in the wake of it. And there's some stuff too that I think annoyed a lot of people, where basically a PR firm comes in and says that they need to make RoboCop nicer, so they kind of reprogram him to like be super polite to everybody, and he's more reluctant to kill people, so I think that bothered people. But it's not. It's like he's been programmed to be reluctant to kill people. It's not that he doesn't want to. It's that they're like, oh yeah, we got to make sure that he just starts reading people their rights even as they're running away while shooting other people. So they kind of nerf him for a good chunk of it, almost like taking away his powers.
Yeah.
And, it's written by Frank Miller, though, who wrote 300 and Sin City, like the comic books of those. And Dark Knight Returns, who, funny enough, the animated movie that DC did for Dark Knight Returns, Peter Weller's the voice of Batman. Frank Miller wrote RoboCop 2, and it was directed by the guy who did Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, there you go. Hey, I don't mind we make this a little arc and just go through all the RoboCops and talk about them.
You can stop it too.
Well, but that's not how we do things here. We watch bad stuff too.
we got to suffer through the bad stuff too, I guess. All right. Yeah, he gets a jetpack in 3. I guess that's something.
I mean, I'm convinced. Also, apparently, when RoboCop showed up in WCW, there was a promotion for RoboCop 2. I didn't even know that. That's funny.
I guess, 89, that would make sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Someone just says 3 on the other hand. Watch it, Mootle.
Yeah, 3.
People like to see me suffer.
3. Honestly, I think the remake could have been better than it was, but I don't think it's terrible. I just think it's nothing compared to the original. And when that happens, it's like, if you're going to remake something and not make it better, then why do it? Like, I mean, especially when the original holds up really well. I can see if the original was like a silent film or in black and white or something. It's like, let's make a modern full color RoboCop with dialogue. But it's like, no, it wasn't. It was the 80s, but that, like, a lot of movies from the 80s are still pretty good. You don't necessarily need to remake them.
Yeah. Here's a concept. Make them good when you remake them. That's nice.
Yeah. Or remake bad movies and make them better. At least then we could be like, well, the remake's better than the original. This original sucked. It's a good idea, but it was executed horribly.
I covered Dread with Az just a couple of weeks ago. I love that movie. That's awesome.
Another very tightly written action movie about a stoic hero.
I was very sad there was not another one, because when I watched, it's like, man, this is actually this is a really simple concept, but it works really well. And yeah, it's a lot of I
heard for a while that Carl Urban was pushing for a Dredd show with Alex Garland involved, because Alex Garland wrote the 2012 Dredd. But then I didn't hear much about that, and then The Boys started, and I think he's busy with a show that's getting progressively worse each season, it seems.
Yeah. I didn't even bother with 3. I don't care.
Got 3 episodes in, and the 3rd episode was probably the most heavy-handed political message pandering I've ever seen. I think Az told me about that. And it was like almost ridiculous.
Sounds really cringe, actually. But
you saw season 1?
I mean, we covered season 1 and 2 on EFAP.
Okay, you know Starlight, the kind of girl superhero, is the main character. The 3rd episode of The Boys season 3 starts with like an uncut Britney Spears Baby One More Time, and her as like an 11-year-old dancing to it. And I'm like, are they flat out just trying to like own the conservatives about cuties on this one? Because like they're making me watch this little girl dance in a very inappropriate way, and then every so often cutting back to her mom that's like, "Good job, honey," and I'm like, what purpose does this serve? None at all. Like, why are you making me watch this? And I haven't watched episode 4, so I don't know. It might get better. I'm gonna assume, maybe not.
I don't know. We didn't bother with that one. Anyway, we're now getting introduced to Lewis, the female sidekick, or partner rather. Sidekick is probably the wrong word in this scenario. They're partners. Sidekick always sounds like they're like second tier, but they're no one here is handled as second tier. When they say they're partners, they're partners.
I have a tweet from yesterday in which I refer to myself as X-Ray Girl's sidekick.
Nice. Yeah, because Murphy goes out with Sarge, and he's like, "Lewis, get over here." and stop beating up your suspect, because she's just punching the shit out of a suspect who's trying to escape. He just beats the fuck out of him. And she's like, sup? It's like, this is Murphy.
It immediately establishes that she can handle herself. She's,
absolutely,
pretty tough.
It's like, he's your new partner. It's like, okay, what's up? Let's go to, and they just go to the parking lot, grab a car. He's like, let me drive before you know your way around the block. And he's like, normally I drive when I break in a new partner. And it's like, but then she just goes to the other side and they drive off. And he drives off very rowdy, like the tire screeches and there's like sparks and, which is interesting because later when we see him as Robocop, he still drives the same way.
Does the same thing, yeah. And that's got it's got more narrative weight than you'd think it would have. Like the sparks, the first time he does it, you probably wouldn't think too much of it, other than that he's a bit of a hotshot cop. Like he doesn't really care too much about like the integrity of his vehicle or like the long term health of it. He's just like, no, I need to get out there and fight crime. It's I think later on in the movie we can touch on how referencing that again is interesting.
Yes. But now we well, I guess we get introduced to the baddies of the story, more or less. Because we go to the OCP company headquarters. I just assume that's what it is. They don't say it, but they have their meeting there, so I just assume it's their headquarters. And we see Bob Mortimer?
Morton? Bob Morton.
Morton? Oh, okay.
Yeah, Morton is the OCP guy who his project is the Robocop project.
Yeah.
The guy who...
I was just not sure about the last name. I only called him Bob this whole time in my notes. The
guy's name's Miguel something. I forget the actor's name.
Yeah.
He's one of those 80s character actors who's in like every movie, but he's never playing a super significant role. In fact, I think actually Robocop's probably one of his biggest parts.
Yeah. Bob Mortimer is a comedian metal. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's... Okay. Shut up. Anyway. But yeah, they go to the company headquarters where Dick Jones wants to show off his ED-209 project, or 209. And
I always used to say Ed 209.
Yeah, I think he also says Ed 209. I think. Actually, not sure anymore. But
I think it might be one of those AT-AT or at things. Like different people grew up saying different things, and that's just what they've always said. I'm an AT-AT Ed 209 guy.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, before the guys never talk about how Delta City might be greenlit, and Bob is like, that's possible. We never stay on time here. That's bullshit. Because nothing ever goes on schedule here. And they also give us the information that the EDs or ads, whatever you prefer to call them, had a bunch of delays, and Bob was in charge of working on a contingency in case something goes wrong. And oh boy, something goes wrong.
Oh yes, gloriously.
Yeah. So yeah, then they go to their meeting. The old man, I don't even know if the boss actually gets a name in this movie. I think they always call him just old man. The old man.
The old man, yeah. And actually, honestly, I didn't even realize that until here, because while taking my notes, I was like, fuck, what is the CEO of OCP's name? And then I looked it up on IMDb, and he's credited as the old man.
Oh, okay. Nice. Oh, someone chat just says, Bob also mentions that they moved high-risk police officers into dangerous precincts. Okay.
Yeah, I was actually going to comment on that, because that happens at the very end of this scene. This viewing was the first time I really caught on to that line. Like, I guess it's one of those.
I thought he said it in this elevator already, because I think I have that in here somewhere at the end as well. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, it puts Bob Morton in a because Bob Morton is I've always kind of viewed him as a guy who's sleazy, but ultimately he's kind of he's leading the good guy faction of OCP, because he's the one who makes Robocop, who's the hero of the movie. But when he makes the pitch to the old man after ED-209 blows that guy away, and basically Dick Jones's project is put on the back burner, He's like, yep, we've actually rearranged some of the police resources, so we should have a sufficient candidate within in a matter of days, if not like however long. Like he basically says it's gonna be soon. We will have a candidate, and I think that what
Yeah.
he means by doing that is he took hero cops, or the cops that tend to like run to the front of the pack and take the risk, into the most high risk
Yeah.
areas. They're like, one of
That's
these guys
fair.
is going to die, and it's going to be a good cop who does die because they're the ones that have the skill to go into these situations. And that explains why Murphy was transferred, being tied into the stuff going on with OCP. And yeah, it was like, I was like, oh man, I was like, this movie's even better than I thought it was.
Yeah. Also, can you entertain the people for like 5 minutes? I'll be right back.
I can.
Very good.
All right. So yeah, I guess
Don't
we
yell
could
at him,
probably...
Chad. Behave.
Oh yeah, yeah. Or yell at me. It'll have me give me things to argue against in the chat, which I now. X-Ray Girl is here. X-Ray Girl, I'm alone on the stream right now. I'm vamping.
Hi, chat.
Okay, if you guys heard my wife, that is my wife. But anyways, yeah, no, RoboCop, I guess. Oh, here, I've got an interesting story that has nothing at all to do with this movie, but is RoboCop adjacent. So the remake was shot in Toronto, which is where I'm from. I don't live directly in the city of Toronto now, but I'm close to there in the Canada area. And the reason I'm Marc the Cyborg, for the people in Metal's audience who don't know me, is I lost my right leg, so I'm an amputee. At the previous military base that I was posted at, one of the other amputees I was there with was a girl named Chantel, and she is in the RoboCop remake in the prosthetics clinic where they eventually make RoboCop. So I always thought that was kind of cool. And in a way, I was like, oh man, I wish I'd lost my leg earlier. And then I'm like, wait, no, don't. That's incorrect. I would have been able to be in a RoboCop movie that wasn't really the best one. I think though the remake probably was most held back by being a RoboCop remake of all things. If you guys ever seen the show Narcos, it's the guy who's the showrunner of Narcos that directed the RoboCop remake, and he's got a really good series of Brazilian films called Elite Squad. So there's a lot of reasons why this movie could have ended up being really good, but I think it's the problem with inflated budget Hollywood remakes is that they tend to be written, not produced necessarily, so it's not really the director's fault, lacking that little sense of soul, like the all the little elements that I've been talking about with things like Peter Weller's performance, or the stuff they're doing to link the interstitial newscast that the movie starts with into the stuff that the cops are talking about in the precinct, and then that kind of ties into the things that the OCP guys are talking about in the board meeting. It all kind of is working together to tell one consistent story that at the very least seems like it was written by someone who thought things through, laid out a plan, double checked things, did some redrafts, thought, hey, maybe if we tweak this, we could have this earlier thing tie into this thing that happens later. And in RoboCop, there is a lot of that. This is an almost 2-hour movie. I think it's like just shy of 2 hours, or maybe just over 2 hours, if not very far out. But there's tons in this movie that happen in the last half that are set up in the first half in a way that you never really know that they're setups until you've seen the movie and you know where they're going. Okay, cool. Yeah, I was actually just about to say a thing that happens in the next scene, so we might be right on time.
Well, just go right ahead.
I gave my thoughts on like the remake and how it could have been better than it was and why it failed, but yeah, I figured that was RoboCop adjacent, but you wouldn't be missing anything important.
Fair enough. But yeah, they basically start the meeting. The old man tells them, which is the boss, they will start constructing Delta City in 6 months, where old Detroit now lies.
So they're gonna rebuild a whole new city, like a corporate city on top of Detroit.
That's apparently gonna provide like 2 million workplaces for people and stuff. Because the city has a cancer that is crime, and they want to give back to the police force because they have been put in like dangerous situations. And so he lets Jones do a little speech, and he basically just sucks OCP sticks, like, oh, we're so cool, we're doing space stuff and all these things. We get the what was it? find business, do business where you find some, or something along those lines was the line.
I can't recall it off the top of my
Yeah,
head.
I'm just trying to think about it. I think it's somewhere along that. It's not super important. And yeah, and then he shows the ED-209, and which is, as he calls it, an enforcer droid that is supposed to be a 24/7 cop, which is now, at the moment, best used for urban pacification. And he believes that it will also be good for military use in the future as well.
Yeah, and that is one thing I got to give it to the remake for. The opening of that movie kind of starts on ED-209s being deployed in like Afghanistan, and it's a pretty cool scene. I was like, okay, this movie could be good,
Damn.
and then I was let down by the rest of it.
Yeah, he's one of the meeting attendants. Like, oh, I need someone to act as a criminal. And then he gets like this huge fucking silver-plated Desert Eagle, super fucking shiny.
Yep. The most 80s gun ever.
Yeah, I just find it funny they have one of those lying around.
If you don't pick one of those up off the weapons rack without doing a line of cocaine first. It's one of those things that you need the balls to think you're actually going to be able to hit something with a pistol that holds like 5 rounds and has recoil like a shotgun. It's like, probably use a 45 ACP and hit more stuff and do almost as much damage. But,
Yeah.
you know, they're ridiculous, but they're really cool.
And then he tells the guy to use it in an aggressive manner, which is the weirdest way I've ever heard someone say to use it to point a gun at someone.
Threaten this robot right here.
Yeah.
Real quick.
And then he just kind of first points it at Jones, and he's like, the robot. So he points at that and turns to it, that you have 20 seconds to comply, put down the weapon, and Jones says, better do what it says, and he just throws it down, but it just keeps counting down. And the guy obviously panics. He's like, oh God, help me. And then he shoots the fuck out of that guy into little bitties, and he falls into the model of Delta City. So yeah, that went wrong. Very wrong.
Yeah, not the best business presentation, though. I think they probably would have been able to fix a whole lot of the danger there by just loading it with blanks.
That is actually one of my biggest complaints in the whole movie, that this thing was loaded with live rounds while this thing is in the meeting room. And why they have this whole fucking plate of buttons there. You tell me they don't have an emergency off button for that huge ass thing?
Well, they were trying. They were like pulling out the circuit board and everything. They're like, I don't understand why the fail safes aren't working. And then the dude with the gun's just like, like, what do I do?
Yeah.
Please help.
So yeah.
Realistically, you should have hid behind Dick Jones. That would have been the move.
I guess he's very lucky that they own the police, because otherwise he would be fucked. His whole fucking department would be fucked.
And at the end of it, though, Dick Jones is just like, yeah, well, this was a little setback. It's like, little setback.
Yeah.
You couldn't believe that he was so cavalier about the reaction to it. But I guess if you're a businessman and something goes wrong, even if someone dies, the fiduciary responsibility to like make profits would probably make you like, okay, try to explain this as well as you can. So in a way, I don't blame Dick Jones for that, but it was kind of funny that he was like, we're still working out a few bugs, but like, clearly it's an awesome machine. It's like, not from where I was standing.
Yeah.
Just kind of murdered.
There's a dead guy on my Delta City model. I don't know.
With let's take a second though to pull out of the story and talk about the filmmaking there. Does this film not have the best blood squibs you've ever seen?
Yeah, it's like blah 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 blah.
Yeah, they're so chunky. It's glorious.
I was actually really impressed with the ad, how it looks. I thought it would look much worse these days, but I don't know. Looks pretty fucking good. I mean, we're talking about 1987 here. It's insane, actually.
Yeah, that was back when you have to do things kind of the same way they did for like the Rancor and Return of the Jedi or the AT-ATs and Empire Strikes Back. It's the kind of stop motion where you have a model, take a photo of it, You move it like half a millimeter, take another photo, and then takes absolutely forever to do that. But it can sometimes look pretty good if you use it well. What I think was most impressive about the ED209 shots is they're all in pretty even lighting.
Yeah.
Like they're not. It's not like, oh, it looks good because they're mostly in the dark. It's like, no, it's pretty good looking effects where it's like right out in the open with no computer animation. So that's pretty.
I think they made it as good as they could back in the day. I mean, it's not far off from just blending in completely, I would say. Not too shabby.
If it's not there, it's as close as you could expect it to get, I think.
Yeah. Someone just went, a glitch? You called this a glitch?
yeah. That was just a glitch. It's like, oh, yeah, it's a glitch in which you had like will look like a 50 cal machine gun, like two of them just laying into one dude.
I think they really wanted to have a dead guy here because you could have had the same scene without anyone dying and the same thing would have happened at the end.
Yeah, although I think that it sets the tone for the violence in the movie really well in a way that, I mean, to use the cliche term, the subversion of expectations. You're kind of not expecting the boardroom meeting to be where like a big gory slasher movie kill essentially happens, and it's like, oh, wow, okay, we're in for a ride with this movie, aren't we?
Someone in chat actually makes a pretty good point. Even if they did load blanks, the machine would probably state weapon malfunction or something in an attempt to smash or crush him. That would have worked really well.
Funny. Well, I guess if the machine thinks that it's firing, that's all it should be able to do, because it didn't look like it was programmed for melee combat. But that would be an interesting way to say, oh, don't worry, they're loaded with blanks, and then still have the scene play out with like Ed 209 coming over, kicking the guy to the ground, and then stomping his skull in.
I would have liked that. But yeah. Yeah, he calls it just a minor glitch after the boss is concerned. It will cost them millions just in interest to move the project up. Right. Oh, yeah, and then Bob comes up.
I'm rearranging my puppies here.
Oh, no worries.
Keep talking, though. Keep talking.
Yeah. Bob comes up and says, oh, here, the Robocop project, that's pretty much done, so. Can work on a prototype as low as 90 days. We just need someone to use it up. We moved a lot of those police officers, as we said already.
We believe we'll have a candidate in any minute now.
Yeah. And then the old man.
That's the first time I ever thought, like, oh, Bob Morton is the reason Murphy's dead.
Yep. And the boss likes that very much. Like, oh, sounds great. Maybe we do need another perspective from here. I'd like a full presentation in 20 minutes. Get your people. It's like, nice.
Yeah. And it's an interesting kind of archetype of the 80s businessman who just like jumps on opportunities and is not shy about being like, oh, I'm going to piss off my superior, but if I go over his head and pitch my project, it might get approved and that could make my career. So this is happening.
Yep. Yeah, and then Jones is not happy with that outcome, but Bob is. And he says, no, we just need a volunteer, or need someone to volunteer. I was like, yeah, you'll get one soon to quote-unquote volunteer, I guess.
And then
you'd like to call it that.
As I remember, it then cuts directly to Murphy spinning his pistol, right?
It's either directly spinning his pistol or Lewis getting the coffee and she comes out and he's doing the spinning.
Doing the TJ laser thing.
Yeah. Right, let me move up the little loop-de-loop and clicky. Let's see here. Yes, come on, do the thing.
And one of my notes after this one that I got to the end of that boardroom meeting scene, I was like, 15 minutes in, we're in the third season, the third scene, which is the final segment of the origin story, and we we already feel like we have a really good understanding of what this world is, how it
Yeah.
operates, and how this story is going to come together. So it's like,
I've really
man.
like a lot of those action movies that are actually pretty darn good, even from like a simple story line. It's like, man, you just use your time very well in telling us things without someone going like, oh, this just happened. Just implementing it really well into the story and how it presents itself without
Or let me give you a
thinking
bunch of
the audience is
exposition.
fucking stupid as shit.
Yeah, you just you don't need to take that much time to set things up. You've just got to really pay attention to when you're indulging your own fancies as opposed to telling a story in an efficient way. So, I mean, take for example, you guys talking about the Thor: Love and Thunder thing, where they had, I think Taika Waititi says he has like a 4.5 hour cut that
Yeah.
is mostly just vamping and things like that, and it's like, well. Yeah, I mean, you can do that, and then you might be able to use that as a big block of marble that you carve a sculpture out of, but what if you just plan out your sculpture
Yeah. that would
and
be
then order the
great.
appropriate size of marble? Wouldn't that be more efficient?
The absolute state of media these days. It's a shame. Anyway. Yeah, we see Lewis getting some coffee for the two, and Murphy's doing some sick schmoves with his gun, like he's a cowboy. And she just goes, basically goes like, oh, fancy moves, Murphy. And then he tells her, it's like, oh yeah, my boy saw that on the TV. It was like some space cowboy doing it. And
Yeah, TJ Laser.
I learned how to do it, so he thinks that I'm a good cop, and role models can be very important for a boy. And she kind of looks at him, and then he says, yeah, okay, but also get kind of a kick out of it.
He's like, okay. He's like, yeah, and also I find it fun. Okay. I think I look cool when I do it. Okay?
Yeah.
Just, let me have this.
Exactly.
But again, that little quirk of just him spinning his pistol, it has relevance.
It does have
comes
relevance,
back and
yeah.
has story significance later on. It's like, oh man.
Yeah. And then they immediately receive a call from the radio and just drive off and respond to it.
Yep. And the good old Clarence Bodegar's gang. Quite the villain.
They follow a van, and the criminals seem to have burned the money, which annoys the boss, which is Clarence, which I guess becomes a third part boss villain man, if you will.
Yeah, I'd say he's although I guess you could argue ED209 is or Ed 209 is, but I kind of see Clarence as the heavy, like the muscle villain, if you want to use the M. Night Shyamalan Unbreakable terms of like you have the muscle and the brain. Like Dick Jones would be the brain villain, like the one that you have to defeat him because he's the one kind of pulling a bunch of the strings. And then Clarence is the one who's like, yeah, no, I'm actually just a villain and I will murder people myself.
Yeah.
So he's the scary one. And again, like Kurtwood Smith, as much as most people in my generation primarily know him as Red Foreman from 70s Show, like Eric Foreman's dad, he's so good in this movie. Like he's just the perfect mix of menacing and seems like he gets a kick out of being sadistic, but he's not cartoony. Like he's very just kind of like cool about like wanting to torture people and make them suffer and make them afraid. And he'll laugh at the things, but it's not like a loud over the top cackle that makes it think like, okay, this is a guy trying to pretend he's a bad guy. It just seems like, man, I wonder if Kurtwood Smith is just actually a real psychopath or he's just an incredible actor.
Yeah. So yeah, they seem to have burned their money, and this one guy's like, well, we need to blow it up. Sorry, I guess. And he gets something for his troubles here in a little bit. Yeah. As I already said, they trail the van where they're all in, and Murphy calls for backup. It's like, oh, we got the van, we need backup. It's like, nope, no backup available. It's like, oh, well,
It's like,
guess
okay.
we'll do this alone. Murphy just goes to Lewis, like, give me your piece. And so he gets like,
Yep.
he loads his gun, puts it on the side, gets her gun, and he just looks out the window and starts shooting at them. Because they kind of get behind them, and when the gangsters just open up their back doors of the van, they're gone. It's like, oh, what's gas? And they just moved around them to the side and start shooting at them. They basically just shoot at each other for a little bit. Obviously, we're working with 80s shooting of the finest department. Nobody hits anyone for a while.
Yeah.
Until the guy who blew up the money, unfortunately, got hit in the leg, I think.
Can you fly, Bobby?
Can you fly, Bobby? And then you just yeet him on the police car. And this is where I have a little bit of a problem with the time they spend. Because they kind of spin out, but they're pretty fast in getting back on the road. But then we have like a pretty quick cut where the criminals are already at their base, I guess, and they've already been there for so long that they're just chilling.
Oh yeah, I mean, I guess yeah. I
got a bit confused because
I kind of thought of them spinning out as being like, okay, they were able to get a good enough. Well, I mean, also them at the same time. Maybe I almost want to rewatch this scene before I speak too definitively on this. I'm basing this on my memory, and I could be wrong, everybody, even though it's a movie I've seen a million times. But I was kind of under the impression that once the villains get to the mill and the two cops, Murphy and Lewis, get there, Lewis and Murphy are the ones who take their time, which if anything, I think that would be the correct thing to do, because they especially if the villains are under the impression that they've escaped them, you can then Jojo, calm down, sorry, growling puppy. You can utilize the element of surprise, and especially when you know that now it's not one vehicle versus one vehicle, effectively it's two people versus 6 or 5, something to that effect, but they're outnumbered and they know that these guys have guns and they know that they're willing to kill cops. So I think that them moving in slowly, it's possible the mill is bigger than the movie has demonstrated, and they might have had to be walking around there for a while. But that, I will admit, is me maybe writing the movie for the movie.
Yeah, that's the things we have to fill for ourselves, because it's legit. I just looked back on it. They spin out. Now I can't pinpoint it. Yeah, so he throws him. Hang on, come on, throw him already. Yeah, he throws him. They kind of spin out. Not even that heavily. They drive away for a little bit. They just push the other criminal down, turn around, and speed off immediately. And then we immediately cut to the mill, and they're already here chilling like crazy. I don't know. It would be just, I don't know.
I'm willing to give you that that's a flaw. I never really picked up on it.
It's not even a big flaw. I was just confused that they apparently been here for a while already, even though they sped after them right away. I mean, all they needed was them, I don't know, seeing them drive off into a weird alleyway or something, and they couldn't find them immediately. Because we see them just drive away straight ahead, just one road they can take.
The trick there, at least from a script standpoint, would be then how do Lewis and Murphy get to the mill?
Yeah, exactly.
Because you can't have them lose them, be really far behind, because then if that's the case, they're not going to be able to find it. But I kind of think it's more okay, if they follow them to the mill, they get into the mill, they find the vehicle, and then they move really slow, park the car somewhere a little bit out of sight, and say, okay,
yeah, that would work.
This is a big place. There's 5 of these guys. They might be spread out now. Yeah. They might be waiting for us. But yeah, you're right. The villains do seem pretty relaxed, considering there were 2 police officers just in hot pursuit.
I mean, that one guy's just pissing.
Once they've yeah. Well, I mean, that's realistically, that's the thing that saved him.
That's true.
Lewis just couldn't avoid looking at his dick. She couldn't do it. And that, honestly, it's the biggest problem I have with Lewis's actions in the whole movie. It's A, She gets way too close to the guy when she decides to look down at his dick. And B, it's like, Lewis, what did you think you were going to see there that was going to be such a surprise? Like, come on, lady.
Yeah.
Mind if I zip this up? It's like, he's trying to get you to look down. So.
Yeah. Mind if I zip this up? But yeah, also Murphy tries to get more backup before they enter the mill. And it's like, no, still no backup. Not for another 20 minutes or so.
Yeah.
And Murphy says to Lewis, like, your call. What are you going to do? She's like, we're going in. It's like, all right.
Yep.
And then they sneak through the place and split up. As we already said, Lewis finds the guy taking a leak. And when he asks if I can zip, if he asks her to zip himself up, she just kind of first looks at him. It becomes like a staring contest almost. But then she looks at his dick, and he's like, "Up, get rid of your gun." And he yeets her off the catwalk or wherever they're on. And
too close to be making a move like that, and realistically, she should have been like, "I don't give a fuck if you put that thing away or zip up. First, get down on the ground, put your hands behind your head." Like,
yep.
That would have been the correct thing for a police officer to do.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, she's out of commission for now. She's unconscious. She took a pretty big tumble down there. Then Murphy finds two of the lads watching TV. They're having a blast, laughing about what's on the telly. Is that the first time the "I'll buy that for $1" meme comes up in this movie? Was that on the?
Is it? I don't know. It happens so often that I
it happens like 2 or 3 times. I don't know if this was the first one, but yeah, I'll buy that for $1. And every time people see that, it's hilarious, and you never get the actual joke. It's just like, I'll buy that for $1.
The idea is that it's just like making fun of like 80s sitcoms. Where it's like, no, this isn't funny. This person just has a catchphrase, and you're waiting for this person to say it.
Yeah. Where was I? Oh yeah, he finds the two lads watching the TV, confronts them. One of them goes to shoot him, but he's faster because he's, even in his human form, he's a pretty good shot.
Yeah.
And the other one tries to get it, and shoot him. He's like, okay, go ahead, do it. And he's like, I think I'm all right. And then he's about to arrest him, but then he gets surrounded by the other gangsters.
Very important though. It's before he gets surrounded. The thing he says to Emil says like don't think about it. Then he's like, dead or alive, you're coming with me.
Right. Yeah, that's what he says that here. True.
Yeah, that's a critical line for later on in the story. And even who he says it to is important. Comes back.
So yeah, he gets surrounded by all the guys that are left over because one of them is dead, of course, as I just said. And yeah, he gets fucked up. There's like no other way to say it.
Oh yeah.
First, Clarence is like, "Oh, are you a good cop? Well, cops don't like me, so I don't like cops." And then he shoots off.
Buddy, I
hand.
think you're scum.
Yeah.
And I think that was the juxtaposition of that line of him like looking at Clarence and then very coldly and confidently saying, "Buddy, I think you're scum. Like, I think you're the worst of the worst. I'm not afraid of you. I get that you've beaten me, so just shoot me."
Yeah.
And then the horror that you see in his face after they shoot off his hand is just like all of that confidence and bravery and good cop energy that he had just kind of goes away, and he just shows that vulnerability of like, oh my god, my right hand is gone.
Yeah, and it splatters. You can see it splatter. That thing gets
exploded,
fucked up. And then they just start unloading all their shotguns into him, all the bullets they have, all the shells they have. He just gets fucking railed by everything. In the meantime, Lewis comes not back to life, just wakes up, I guess, and just kind of makes her way, and she just sees all these guys unloading on Murphy, and I don't know how many bullets he has in his chest by now. He's fucked one way or another, and just to make sure, Clarence puts one in his face, in his forehead. So
in the right side of his head. Boom.
He's basically dead now. And
I mean, honestly, I would probably maybe it's that they have better first response medicine than we're capable of. But if I responded to that call
I was like,
and saw him there, I'd be like, yeah, this
what am I
is
supposed
a
to do?
coroner. You don't need paramedics here. You need a coroner because
Yeah.
he got shot in the brain. So this is over. But I will say this because I think this is probably the first time I was actually like really picking apart the medical stuff as they have him on the gurney and they're doing like the next sequence where you have almost the montage of him kind of flashing back to memories with the emergency physicians and nurses and everything kind of trying to save him. Everything they do is actually kind of the appropriate things that you would do.
That's great.
They were using a manual defibrillator. They intubated him. They then I think they use epinephrine right before they do their last shock. And I was like, oh, this is actually like all right.
Someone in chat just said
didn't talk about
the ER doctor is apparently a real doctor, if the person recalls correctly.
Oh man, crazy.
The writer was told they save people in that kind of condition often. Oh, fuck, okay.
I didn't know that, and that is absolutely why I was actually pretty impressed with the medical jargon that was being said there. Like, it wasn't just random Hollywood writer who's seen a couple of medical TV shows writing, say clear and then then shock. It's like, no, they talk about putting a Foley catheter in him and everything to monitor his urine output, and it's like, oh, it's good stuff.
Oh, well, there you go. So yeah, in the hospital they try to save him, but as it just says, they do all this stuff. You see, like, his memory flashes, and I think the last memory he has is just his wife and kid, and he just basically just gets, I don't know, pulled away from them, which kind of makes sense because later on he says, I can feel them, but I don't remember them.
Yeah.
Kind of sad scene actually later on.
The view out his rear view window as he's driving away, and it flashes the few things like his wife kind of pretending to be mad at them, but then saying I love you as he goes out, and the kids watching TJ Laser and then saying, can you do that, Dad? And like it really kind of hammers home that I think he mentions like, yeah, my kids do this, but you don't really get too much pre Robocop Murphy, none of it outside of his police uniform, really, when you think about it. So we don't really know what his personal life is like. And you kind of, him dying essentially and having those flashes to his wife and son, I thought was a really good way to show, oh man, this guy
really
had something to lose here. Like this isn't just some like random cop who died. This is a family man who was a good cop, and it's a sad thing that's happening.
Yeah. And they fail to save him. He's called dead at 6:15. So he like legit died. He's he's dead. But we see the screen turn black for us, and then all of a sudden it comes back to life. But it's like a
scanline
CRT screen. It's like, oh, what's going on here? I mean, we know because we know
we understand the title of the movie.
Exactly. And he's just doing things. To a television screen is what I think, CRT. And then we just see Bob and some technicians / doctors, whatever. And Bob just says, "Oh, lose the arm." We said fully robotic.
We were able to save the left arm.
Yeah.
What? Lose the arm? No, we're doing full body prosthesis.
Yeah. And then he's like, "Wait, can he hear us?" It's like, "Oh, we're gonna wipe his memory anyways." It's like, "Oh, okay.
Okay.
Fine."
He goes up to him. You're gonna be one bad motherfucker.
Yeah, that's great. You're gonna be one bad motherfucker. It's like a substantial amount of time that goes away because we see them even celebrating New Year's and get like some tests with arms where he just shakes his arm and he's like, oh yeah, they can just do 400 pounds pressure and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, oh jeez.
They're measuring his grip strength and torque.
Yeah. They celebrate New Year's, like, hey, Happy New Year. the one...
The girl kisses him?
Yeah. It was like, oh, look, he's watching us. And then they turn him off until his final presentation, where Robocop is officially born and presented to the... I guess to the... Not the public, but to the...
To the other employees
OCP
at OCP,
people,
I'm imagining. What I thought was brilliant about this sequence and the next one in the police station where he makes his first like actual full appearance is they do a really good job of showing the audience his whole process of how they made him. But because we're seeing it through his eyes, like, I mean, I guess unless you've seen the poster of the movie, we don't really know what he looks like through any of this. And I think that's it's a really interesting, almost sort of body horror technique of having it be that you understand that the person is going through something that's almost like Frankenstein, like monstrous. So he's going through a transformation where they're doing all these things, and then you get just glimpses of things like the arm that they show, and when they're demonstrating like the grip strength. But other than that, we're all seeing the journey of RoboCop being turned from Alex Murphy into RoboCop through the eyes of Alex Murphy, like through his point of view, and he's not looking in a mirror. So there's that element of mystery to it that makes some sense for the presentation too. It's like, well, you're still keeping us in the main character's perspective, even though he's effectively unconscious. So I thought that was really cool.
Absolutely. I like that sequence a lot. It's pretty neat. And yeah, we go back to the police department where they officially put RoboCop to duty. And they test all his functions, and this is where we hear his prime directives: serve the public trust, protect the innocent, uphold the law. But if you're eagle-eyed like I am, you also see that there's a fourth prime directive, which is currently marked as classified. It's like, oh shit, what's that? So yeah, they tease us with a little thing.
Probably just a totally useless thing that they threw in there for flavor.
Yeah.
Or it actually has relevance.
That would be crazy. But yeah, he just got in, all the police officers there, just go have a look-see. And it's like, oh shit, what's going on here? Yeah, he just gets tested pretty much. We also see the tracking device.
To him.
The tracking device.
Oh yeah.
I was like, we can track him at all times with this thing. It's like, okay, that's good to know. And also he gets fed like this baby food sludge stuff.
Food, yeah. The sludge. He's getting fed Marvel sludge.
Yeah, and that assistant guy from Bob, I actually don't recall his name. He's like, oh, it actually tastes pretty good.
It tastes like baby food.
He's like, you want some? It's like, nah, it's all yours, buddy. It's like, you're good. But yeah, we see like his targeting stuff with like a pen. It's like target here, target there, and this way we see how the actor just moves around as RoboCop, and he does a really good job, like moving around all robotic and stuff. It's pretty cool.
I always kind of wonder how much of that was his physical performance and how much of it was the construction of the suit.
That's
things
a fair
like his
point,
line deliveries and mannerisms for things like how he moves his head. But if it is, like, if you could functionally just move around in that RoboCop suit like it's nothing, then yeah, like his physical performance is actually very impressive, because it does seem like it really is a robot body, not a human body. Like, they do a really good job of selling that. For it, the limited movement of a fully prosthetic body that can still be functional and would be very strong, but it doesn't seem like he can do flips and things like that.
No. Yeah, and then we see them having some firing practice at a firing range, and Lewis is still in duty. She's still kicking along. But then we see RoboCop absolutely crushing it with his crazy ass burst fire super gun.
Yeah. The best pistol ever.
And we see him like just basically just hitting the target every time. Like head shoots off the arm of the paper dummy or the target. And we see like some points going up, which I assume were like full points. I think it goes up to like 90 something.
Yeah.
And then...
Well, points at a target range are usually based on your grouping. So because he was basically just throwing every single round through the same hole. That's about as good a grouping as you could possibly have.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he absolutely destroys that paper target. But then he does the thing. He spins the gun like Murphy. And Lewis sees that and she's like, wait a second.
yeah,
That is sus. He's an imposter among us.
like holy shit! He's the John Carpenter's The Thing ripoff thing that was in that famous game Among Us. But I think the spinning the pistol though, to show Lewis, hey, remember your partner who died maybe 6 months ago or however long it was. Remember he used to do that thing?
Yeah.
And she immediately picks up on it. It's not like, oh, he spins his gun, but a lot of people spin his gun.
I can chat.
They keep these developments moving.
Chat's filling in the blanks for us once more. So apparently they made 3 or 4 different suits for the movie, and there's a video of Weller talking about it. He carefully developed the movement performance with a mime coach. Originally he couldn't move at all in the suit. And the suit didn't get final clearing until the first day of shooting. Production was halted for 3 days for Weller to go get the movement down. Damn.
Probably should have watched the special features before. But yeah, that's awesome to know, Chad. And yeah, I think the mime study doesn't read to me as a ridiculously obviously false thing. Again, if I've noticed anything from like this rewatching is that Peter Weller, like it's a silly role in that, yeah, you're a robot police officer in a 1980s action movie, but the people involved in this movie took it seriously. Not to be like, oh, we're making the Citizen Kane of action films, but it's like, no, the people in this world would be taking this robot cop seriously because it's a serious thing. It's not a funny thing, even though the movie is sort of a satire, and there are satirical elements like the newscast and the what was the car, the 6,000 sucks or 3,000 sucks, SUX.
No, I think it's just SUV 6000. No, wait, I might be wrong.
No, it's SUX. It's for sure SUX because it's called this thing sucks basically. And the kind of sports car they have. So what I mean is there is levity, there is comedy, but the story itself and the character is taken seriously by the people involved, and I think that can create some cool stuff, man. Like you can have fun in things that is taken seriously by the characters within the world. It's not just because, hey, it's you can do telekinesis and have a lightsaber in this thing. It's not necessarily, oh, well, whatever. It's about space wizards intended for children.
Yeah.
No. Take it seriously, man. Take it seriously and still do fun stuff. You can do both.
Yeah, it's great. Works fantabulous. Robocop gets a car and he's off to his first patrol for the night. And this is where we also see that he's having the same mannerism as Murphy had. He just drives the same, screeches the tires, get the little sparks. And this is where we get a pretty good overview of what his skill sets are as Robocop. So at first we're in a grocery shop where someone is trying to rob the peeps. Just give me all your money and stuff. And he comes in. It's like, you're under arrest. He's like, oh shit, what was that? He starts shooting him, but he's just bulletproof.
Unfazed by bullets.
Bulletproof. He's bulletproof by lower caliber guns, at least.
Yeah.
He just bends the gun's rifle, the front part.
Barrel,
Barrel, the name just escaped me. And punches the shit out of him into a freezer, I think it was, or a fridge. And just finishes with, thank you for your cooperation. Good night, and leaves.
One of the best lines in the movie. Thank you for your cooperation. Good night.
This is where we see Robocop's bulletproof to at least at the armored parts, I wrote. But I think he's just...
Small arms fire.
Small arms fire. As we already heard earlier, 400-pound grip. He's very strong and can bend guns around. Then next, there's a woman about to be assaulted.
It's actually my favorite part in the movie, although wait till we get to the end of the scene before you quote me on that, because it's not the woman being attacked that I like.
No, they're just running after her and they're about to. They cut some of her hair off, and then the guy's like, "Oh, she got some more hair down there," and they're like, "Ah ha ha, we're so evil." And then Robocop steps like, "Stop it!" And they take her hostage immediately with a knife, and he's
And
just
his
doing
targeting computer looks like he's gonna shoot her because it's like aiming at her skirt.
Yeah,
And then
but
he shoots right through her skirt and shoots the guy in the dick.
yep,
It's amazing. And it's again super violent because every single bullet in this movie actually acts like a bullet and like does real damage. It's I don't know, it's so good. And then she starts freaking out, runs up to him and is like, thank you so much for saving me. He's like, ma'am, you have suffered an emotional trauma. I will direct you to a rape crisis center.
yep. And she just looks like, okay, thanks, I guess. And yeah, this is where we see like stressful situations don't matter. He's just like, I'm going to do my calculations with my robot brain, and then I'm going to be super precise as I've been this whole time. And yeah, you can do like multiple calculations at once, just implementing different human heights and all that stuff. So yeah, he's
I think also from a functional perspective for the movie's pacing as well, having this be one night in the life of RoboCop,
yeah,
and following him between a couple different calls back to back is, I almost don't want to call it a montage because it's not like a song started and then it was a bunch of different scenes. It's more like a series of short but complete scenes in which a crime happens, RoboCop shows up and stops the crime. And you kind of see how effective he is through this night, but because it's all within the first night of him out as RoboCop, you don't really feel like, oh God, how much time has passed? How long has he been doing this? It's like, no, this is his first night out on the job. He's just very competent and can go and just sort of accomplish any mission that he's sent on, as long as they're like minor crimes for the most part, and just kind of be done with them. It's very good and really gives you a sense of the hero's strength in a very short amount of time. That's complete, and it doesn't feel unearned. It's like, no, this is Murphy with robot superpowers.
Yeah,
he's just
only one
doing his
thing that someone mentioned in chat as well. Like, did he take in the guys after he beat them up? I would have liked like a little radio call to the police station, basically.
Right, yeah, where he gets someone to actually come pick up the criminals.
No, it looks like he just beats them up and leaves.
I'll say this much: having a fair amount of experience with emergency services, there's a lot of paperwork after each one of these.
Oh yeah, so, he's not going to do that.
There was a good chunk of maybe we should just skip to the exciting part of the next call as opposed to dealing with some of the aftermath and the administration stuff. So, but I think that, again, that's why I kind of called it a soft montage, and that it's not like the, gonna have a montage where you're just going through 6 months of time, be like, and then RoboCop hit the streets and the world was safe until ED-209 came back. And it's like, no, it's not really like that. It's just, hey, we're giving you a good sense of who this character is, why you should think of him as being very competent, and almost, because again, as you were mentioning with being bulletproof, seem like he's invincible. So it's like, oh, we're establishing our character's power as small arms fire does nothing to him. He has effectively perfect aim, and he's very efficient in everything he does. He's the perfect cop. And that makes it really hit hard when you start having the villains get the upper hand on him. Because it's like, oh, okay, he's not invulnerable. He's just very, very powerful. But these guys are outsmarting them, or they're equipped in a way that can counter him. And it's it keeps your superpowered robot, bulletproof superhero cop existing, but also makes it so that it's like, but it's not just the movie's on easy mode from now on. It's so that there actually still is a viable threat that you can see as tangible as a threat to RoboCop.
Yeah. Precisely. Oh yeah.
Robocop, do you have any advice for the kids? Stay out of trouble.
Stay out of trouble. Oh, whoops! I skipped way too far back. Oopsie. I just wanted to go back to the mayor incident, if you will. No, that's where he shot them in the balls. There you go. So yeah, I think it's the old mayor who's taken people hostage in the new mayor's office or something. I could be misremembering
really?
this.
I didn't realize he was supposed to be the old mayor. I guess I didn't pay attention. I just thought it was just a voter or something like that.
That's what I understood. I didn't watch back the scene. That's just what I remember right now. It was going from my mind because I actually only written down he stopped someone from killing the mayor, the new mayor, by punching him out of the window. That's
Just out the window.
So yeah, there's like a whole police group around. It's like, oh, this is like a terrorist thing. We need to be super careful. And then Robocop just arrives, like, keep him talking. And then he just walks right in. It's like, hey, what do you want? It's like, oh, I want the new SUX 600 or something.
3000 SUX.
Oh, even with, I don't know, AC or something. He's like, yeah, even that, we'll do everything you want. And then someone's like, oh, stop bullshitting me. No one ever believes me. Here, and just grabs the one guy and just, I'm gonna blow his brains out. Before he can do that, Robocop just punches a hole through a wall and grabs him through. And then he just yeets him out. Legit punches him and punches him through the window, which is just really funny.
Man, yeah. I love how the 80s was an era where the action heroes killing people was just not really a big deal. It needed to be addressed all that much. It's just like, I don't know, Robocop will flat out shoot a guy in the dick. Just walk away.
But yeah, he saved the day again and heavily injured that guy probably. And the media is just filming it. They love it. They love it. Talking about the media, we get another news thingy with ads, and this one has probably the funniest ad of them all, which is the Nukem one, which I
the battleship one that's Nukem.
found really funny. Hang on, let me get this Schleem Gleamy. Boom. So yeah, got a news report where they talk about Robocop, and apparently he scares most of the evil men, and it's like, oh, they're scared of him. And yeah, the kids love him, and he's like out of a comic book. And as you already said, reporter asked me if there's a message for the kids, and he just says, stay out of trouble. It's just great.
So good. Yeah, man, those little single line deliveries that he has are just so good. Like he nails every one of them.
Yeah, that was up for tier. Yeah, right out that we hear the news station. Still smiling, talking about Robocop's like, more fighting in the national crisis. Jeez, the world here is even worse than our own. It's like, national crisis with like nukes and stuff. I don't know. It's basically just going from, oh, look how cool Robocop is, to, oh, by the way, the world is even worse off.
Was it this one where they showed the misfire of the global defense satellite thing?
I think that might be next. I think that's the next one.
Oh, okay.
I think this is just like, oh, national
that's probably
crisis
my favorite
is still
one.
going on. Yeah. That one is crazy. Oh yeah, and then we get to see the ad for Nukem, a family game where each one of your family members has a territory, and they just you're in my death zone. Well, you didn't stop those treaties with the bad guys. And then at some point, someone just presses the red button and nukes them all. I think that's the game basically. And after that happens, it was like, yay, family game.
Well, I mean, I guess like when you think about it, Battleship kind of is the same concept on, on a smaller scale. It's just like, oh yeah, you sunk my battleship. Yeah, you
Dude,
understand if you think like
I totally play around with Nukem.
700 people died. 700 people died on that battleship. Just so you know.
I played it fuck out of Nukem.
They should really just make it a real game.
Yeah.
It's money on the table, Kickstarter game developers.
Yeah, then the news talks about how Delta City is gonna create 1 million new jobs, and they have Bob on as a news piece, and he's like, "Oh, I can't talk about Delta City. That's not my department. But Robocop is awesome, and criminal activity will probably be done so in like 40 days or so." It's like, okay, geez, you're very, very confident.
Like, yeah, don't worry. My new business project is going to stop literally all crime.
All of it. We don't even need Delta City. Well, I didn't say that, but you know. Yeah, and we see Bob has been promoted to a vice president, and he can go to the executive lounge and everything. Go to the fancy bathrooms and stuff. And he talks with his homie. Says, Dick Jones is a pussy. It's all just a smoke screen. I screwed him over. Like, my thing is way better, and this stuff is like bullshit and broken. Also, I noticed one thing: the urinals have glass separators, which seems kind of pointless.
I mean, it protects you from splashes, I guess.
It's quite funny. I've never seen that before. It's like, okay. Might as well not put anything there. But yeah, I don't know. I just found that funny.
Some interesting choices were made for 1980s architecture.
Yeah. But yeah, what they didn't know, Dick Jones is having a massive shit. And he comes out of there while he is shit-talking him. And everyone is scattering. Everyone is fucking scared of Dick Jones.
Yeah.
And they're all like, oh shit. Like, even Bob's homie is like, not even properly done pissing. He's like, oh, I gotta go. There's like piss all over his pants. It's like, oh, it's fine. Goodbye. Yeah, they're like all, yeah, they don't like it. They don't like him. They're scared of him. And he basically tells them, oh, you know what? I was young once, and I even called people's names, like asshole and stuff. But you crossed the line by insulting me and the company with your unholy creation. And then he tells them, we had a guaranteed contract with the military and spare parts for 25 years. Who cares if it worked or not?
Yeah, that's
it's like, oh man.
Sometimes what I feel about the ambulances that we use in the military that I may or may not be associated with. I'm just like, oh my god, this was definitely a lowest bidder type deal, wasn't it?
Yeah. And then Bob points out to him, he's like, well, the old man thought it was pretty important. And then Jones gets really angry. He's like, you fucked with the wrong guy, and you better pray that your creation doesn't fuck up. And also the old man won't be around forever, and I am number 2 in this place. And he gets like all physical and grabs his hair and pulls it back. And Bob just pushes him and was like, you're insane, old man, or something he says.
Yeah, no, because like, really, what would you be like? Yeah, dude, you can't like, can't like physically assault me at our job.
Yeah, it's crazy people in this company. Then we see Robocop having a dream about Murphy's death, and he sees Clarence and the peeps in there, and there's like always people on standby who check his his vitals, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Or his brain activity. And yeah, those brain activities, those dreams wake him up, and they kind of don't know what to do. They're like, what is going on? It's like, quick, call Mortimer, Bob. And yeah, he just kind of walks off, and I guess they just let him do, because who's going to stop Robocop,
walks
right?
Walks off with a mission, though. Like he's not
like,
just wandering. He's just like, oh, I got shit to do.
Yeah, I'm gonna go find these people because they have something to do with me, I think. But yeah, Lewis catches him. He's about to sack someone in. And he's like, oh, you grab him. I was like, hey, what's you? What is your name? It's Murphy, isn't it? It's you.
Murphy, it's you.
And just kind of... he also responds like, what can I do for you? Officer Lewis or something.
Yeah.
He doesn't really respond to the name question, and he just he just leaves and goes around her, and then he drives off to somewhere, saying there's a crime happening. There's a crime happening somewhere. I think he says, right?
Yep.
I gotta go. There's crime happening somewhere. Right. Well, wait, what the fuck did I write here? That doesn't make any sense. I think that's...
At this point, though, doesn't he hack into the thing to find out the suspects of? Like,
no, that's after.
Or is that later?
Yeah, because he just kind of
Sorry about
stumbles into the one guy on the gas station, which is a bit lucky, I would assume, because he doesn't know where he's really going. I feel like he's just actually activated now. He just goes to patrol the area, and then just happens to stumble upon the guy robbing a gas station. Yeah. Emil, yeah, that's the guy. I don't know why.
I guess that
I don't
is
know
a
why
bit
they
of a
didn't do it.
contrivance.
I don't know why they didn't just do it the other way around when he checks the thing, just checking for the image he saw in his mind. Thing would have just covered that, I think.
I think that he does that after.
Yeah, he does that after he gets
Emil kind of triggers his memory, because that's kind of what I was saying, that when Robocop is confronting Emil at the gas station, he says, "Dead or alive, you're coming with me," which is the same thing he said to him when he was Murphy. And then Emil just kind of goes ghost white, and he's like, "You're dead. We killed you." And Robocop is just like, "Wait, what does he mean by that?" And keeps it in his brain for quite some time, and kind of keeps replaying it. And he's like, "Wait, was I a human? Did I have a personality? Did I have a life before this? What happened to my life?" And gets emotional from there.
Right. Yeah. So he's off into the night, basically. And then, Bob comes around, is a dick to the cops. Because for some reason they're like, "Oh, officer, what do you do?" It's like, "Nothing, I just asked his name. Sorry." It's like, "What did you say to him?" "Nothing." He didn't respond to the name, though. And the boss like, what do you mean shut him down? Shut him down because he had a dream? Just let him do his thing, basically. And then for some reason he's a dick to the cops, like, "Oh, this doesn't concern you. This is classified." It's like, they didn't really do anything. Just don't be so mean. you prick.
Well, I think it's more just the kind of thing that if you have new technology that you think is malfunctioning, what you want to do is kind of get people to not see it happening.
Yeah,
it's like, let's fix the problem, and then not really do anything else with it. I just realized now, though, I'm putting this together, that if the whole thing was like, "Hey, you cops here, like, this station will be shut down eventually because we're just going to populate the street with Robocops, and we'll need like 10 of them to clean up all of Detroit."
Yeah.
And then I just realized just now, actually, what I was thinking about, I was like, it is a bit of a flaw that they put him in the same police station.
Yeah,
that Murphy was at.
I've written that down a little bit later, I think. It's like, why didn't you just at least, I don't know, put them in an extra room with a separate exit and stuff?
Yeah, or not have all the interaction he has with Lewis and the sergeant be in the police station.
Yeah,
because I think that kind of creates the issue. It's like if they ran into him out at a call, that would make a bit more sense if they both responded to the same thing. But it is a bit rough. I can't really explain my way out of that one.
It's kind of weird to call it classified when he's like on news stations and hanging out with the cops, basically in the same station. It's like, what do you mean classified? It's like, you put them here. You you walked with him through the main entrance.
I also feel like if I went into my work one day in a Robocop outfit, everyone would know it's me still.
Yeah.
They know what my face looks like. And you can still see the bottom half of his face, like his jaw and everything. Hear his voice. His voice still sounds the same, if a bit more robotic, but you're like, "Oh shit, wait, did they just zombify Murphy?" What's is that robot guy Murphy? I mean, Murphy, he's dead, but like, robot guy being the dead guy makes a bit of sense.
Right, let me get this next loop-de-loop. Come on. How far do I do this? Maybe after the house. Yeah. This is really funny dance club scene as well. That one made me laugh. So yeah, Robocop just went out to the patrol, and as I already said, he kind of just stumbles across Emil. And he's just basically just robbing a gas station. It's like, here, have a gun, give me all the money in the thing. And the guy who's working there is just a student. I guess he's just kind of learning for his exams and stuff. I mean, nothing too much to say about the scene itself, like how it's going on. He's just being a prick to him, and then Robocop arrives because he sees them from, I don't know, somewhere up the street. And yeah, he just stops him, then... Hang on, where's my notes? Come back. No. Oh yeah, right. So he goes down there, and yeah, as you already said, it says like, oh, dead or alive, you're coming with me. And this way Mew realizes, wait, don't I know you? He's like, no, that can't be. Hey, I think he legit just says, hey, we killed you.
Yeah.
And just starts shooting at him, and he kind of just breaks one of the gas nozzles, I think. Yeah. And just starts blasting, and because he said that, he was like, wait, you realize who I am? Or he realizes who it is, and Robocop just kind of stops working for a bit because he's starting to try to process what is going on.
Yeah.
It's like,
it's a weird thing for someone to say to you when you think about it.
Yeah.
It's like, wait a second, we killed you, and if you don't know that you've ever legally died or like functionally died, that can be a strange thing to hear from someone who otherwise doesn't know you, but then seems to be 100% certain that he knows who you are and that he did kill you.
Yeah.
It could be a tough thing to process.
Yeah, so Robocop.exe stopped working for a while, and Emil blows the gas station up, but Robocop doesn't really give a shit about that. He just, oh, wait, I'm still doing this thing, and just starts shooting his motorcycle. And asks him, who are you? But he doesn't get an answer. And yeah. Also, I think he just actually kind of just leaves him here because he's just back later on.
Yeah, no, he doesn't kill him here because Emil has the most brutal death in any movie ever.
Oh yeah, no, what I mean is he doesn't take him back with him to the station. I think he just lets him lie there, which I found a little bit weird.
Yeah, that is strange.
But yeah, Robocop goes back to the station, and this is where he checks the files with his spiky data connector.
Yeah, the R2, the much more aggressive R2D2 probe.
Yeah. Looks like you can use that as a weapon, actually. Wait a second.
You'd think that maybe that would be something that might be used by writers who are competent at story structure.
Yeah. So yeah, he checks the files on the guy he just fucked up, and he sees his homies in the records, and the guy he sees Clarence.
Clarence, yeah. Clarence
and he just goes through his records, and he sees like, oh, he killed this guy, or suspect for murder for XYZ, blah, blah, blah. And then also Murphy. Yeah, and he opens up his own file, looks at it, and in his head he hears Lewis say, it's you, Murphy. It's you, Murphy. It's you,
Can you
Murphy.
do that, Dad?
Yeah, so he's just kind of trying to figure out what's going on.
Echoes of his memories, kind of
Yeah.
reminding him, "Hey, you're a person, not just a machine."
Yeah, and he pulls up his Murphy's home address, and he drives up there, and just checks out his old house, and sees it's for sale, and he gets like all these memories that you already mentioned. Actually, where it's like, oh, the sun is coming back to him. They have like a little picture that he finds from, I think it was supposed to be Halloween, I guess, because they were like all dressed up. We see that scene where it looks like his wife is angry at him, but she just says, I love you. And yeah, I guess he's just kind of putting things together. It's like, oh, this might have been me at some point.
Yeah. Maybe I was this guy. I'm actually kind of putting together these memories in a way that seems incredibly vivid.
Yep. Also like how they sell homes, apparently. You just go in there and there's like a terminal that talks to you.
Yeah, I mean, automation being
he gets all these memories, and he gets very agitated and breaks one of the terminals at the end. Because he's starting to realize something is not quite right. Something is going on.
I can just imagine if you work for that real estate agency, though. Can you imagine checking the feed from
it's like,
that day and be like, okay, so Robocop just wandered around our house on Springfield Street or whatever it is, and then he destroyed one of our terminals.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
Open a ticket at OCP. It's like, do you guys have a ticket for Robocop damage or something?
It's like, can we get an insurance claim on this? Because I feel like this wasn't our fault.
Yeah. But yeah, that's basically it. We get the the heartbreak on his face with the wife flashback. Yeah, I think that's the one that actually puts him a bit over the edge, where he starts breaking the terminal. But yeah. We're getting his little story times. It's quite nice.
Yeah, and that could be a rough thing to have to process. Almost in a bit more of a sadistic way than because this is kind of the inverse of the Punisher, where the Punisher was a soldier, I guess, not a cop really, but his wife and kid were killed. I think it was a son before, but it's a daughter in the Netflix show. And that's like he's driven by the fact that like he can't ever be back with his family because they are gone. What's crazy about RoboCop's sort of inversion of that, it's like, I'm the one who died. I'm the one who left.
Yeah.
My wife and my son are probably still out there, but it would not be fair to them if I even sought them out, because what am I now? I'm a machine with like half of a face.
Yeah, Lewis even tells him later on, it's like, oh yeah, they just started over. They thought you were dead. I was like, yeah, makes sense.
It makes perfect sense. It's very tragic, but it's also kind of understandable. And in a way that it's like, well, you can't bring people back from the dead, but with them being gone, at least they're off the table and your mind can move on. But I can only imagine what it would be like if it's like, oh, your family thought you were dead and now they've moved on. So you would be ruining their life if you told them that you were alive.
Yeah.
That's a rough position to be in, man.
Pretty much. Right. Robocop goes to, I don't know, a club, a dance club of some sorts. And they don't give a shit that Robocop is here. They're just like, oh, it's Robocop, but I'm high as fuck and drunk, so I'm just gonna dance more. So they're having the time of their lives. And we see that Robocop is in arrest mode because he's going for another one of the accomplices. And he's like, you're under arrest, you have to come with me. Actually didn't write down what he exactly says. And he tries to pull a gun on him, and Robocop just yeets it away. And for some reason, another party goer just catches it and just dances with the gun in his hand. There's no other consequence to this. This is what happens, and it's really funny. And I don't know why they did it that way, but I think it's hilarious.
Hashtag Paul Verhoeven film. That's why.
He just catches it. It's like, hell yeah, I got a gun. Woo!
All right, check this out.
Yeah. And he's like, okay, I'm gonna put my hands up. Then he tries to kick Robocop in the balls, and he just hurts his foot.
Yes.
He's like,
didn't
damn
think
it.
that one through, did he?
Yeah, and he falls on the road, and then Robocop just gets his hair and just pulls him out of there. It's just a really funny scene. I don't know. I think I kind of dig it.
Yeah, it's probably definitely one of the most comical action scenes.
Yeah. And then we go to Bob, who's in his, I don't know, his house, I reckon. And he's just getting high on coke.
Having his own little party.
Yeah, he's just getting high on coke, has some bitches around. When at some point the doorbell rings, and it's Clarence. He's here to, quote unquote, talk to him.
Bitches leave.
It just says bitches leave.
And the hookers are like, all right.
Yeah. Are you gonna call me Bobby? It's like, get out of here. It turns out that Dick Jones hired Clarence to kill him. He even prepared a little DVD for him, where he tells him that it was him, and
in all fairness, this was like 13 years before the DVD was invented, so pretty cool.
Yeah, they just use a CD and just pretend like it's, well, a DVD without knowing what a DVD even is at that point.
If they could put videos on CDs? Wouldn't that be crazy?
That crazy future tech. Crazy. He tells him, like, oh, I was hurt. You just went over my head. We could have been friends. And Clarence just standing there. He shoots. Oh, before he does that, he shoots Bob in the legs like 3 times each leg or something.
It's kind of being like for the Austin Powers situation, like the easily escapable situation involving an over elaborate and exotic death. Mm-hmm. Clarence at least he checked the boxes before he set that up.
Yep. Like, I'm gonna shoot all your legs, all 2 of them, and
I'm just gonna put this grenade right here.
Put this grenade right here. See what happens. He just gets blown up. Clarence doesn't say another thing after bitches leave, I think.
Yeah. He's just there to deliver a message.
Yeah. And this fucking thing just blows up. And rip Bobby.
I always, I guess, used to be a little bit more sad about Bob dying than I was this time, though, because this is the time that I kind of caught the line where he says, "Oh yeah, no, like we've rearranged the police resources, so we should have a candidate soon." I'm like, "Oh, you're kind of as bad as Clarence or Dick, really."
Yeah. Oh boy. So that's Bobby dealt with. And now we get another Clarence scene. He's just trying to make a deal with some, I guess, like with a drug lord kind of dealio, like a drug producer.
And a very, very prime action film setting, too. Just a sort of nondescript warehouse with a bunch of shit.
Yeah. But the guy's like, I'm not really comfy with making business with you, because you have a lot of heavy connections, and also you killed a bunch of cops. So, not a big fan. So I don't know. And then, Clarence basically goes, "Oh, I have enough muscle to shove this factory up your ass, and then you were gonna be shitting snow for a couple of weeks." Yeah. And the drug lord's like, "Frankie, blow his goddamn head off." And they have like their little standoff. And
guns.
And then for some reason, Clarence puts 2 of his fingers in his wine and sniffs it. I don't know what the fuck that is about.
That's a power move. You're the one from Europe. I thought you'd know.
No, I've absolutely no clue. I was so confused.
That was a wine joke. And stuff.
Oh, okay. I didn't get that. And after that, the guy just drinks another sip, and I got really confused by that. I don't know. Maybe Chad has some drug connections. I don't know. If you do, say that in the microphone, please.
I've never done cocaine, but I've never heard that dipping your finger in wine first makes it better. Or anything like
because
that,
Clarence also has this thingy he puts up in his nose, like a nose spray all the time. So I don't know. I feel like there's like some connection missing for me that I don't get. I don't know. I don't know. I just found that weird. And then Clarence says, "Come on, the Tigers are playing, and I never miss a game." And then the guy just calls up his men and says, "Oh, we're just kidding." I legit don't understand what is happening in this scene. I'm so confused by this whole scene.
I think that I've never really just tracked all that much about the things going on in this part of the scene because it's sort of inconsequential. It's one of the most, I don't want to say useless, but it's more the premise to be like, hey, this is Clarence in a situation where there's a lot of other gangsters or like criminals, I guess, that are doing things with processing cocaine and probably have something to do with the drug industry that's going on in Detroit.
No, I'm clear on that. I'm confused by their actions. Because the guy who says, "Oh, just kidding," clearly has the upper hand because Clarence only has 2 people with him and they're like surrounded by guys.
It doesn't. Is it the 2 guys have guns on him though? Now I'm kind of thinking that.
Yeah, they do.
Pay more attention to the mechanics.
If they do it, they're just all gonna die after that. I just don't know if they were actually joking or if they're trying to say Clarence has having the upper hand and a bigger thing, and he's like, just kidding. Let's actually do business because it's probably better. I don't know. I know it doesn't matter because they just all get fucked up anyways now. But
yeah,
I was just very confused. What are we trying to? What are you trying to tell me? Is this negotiation that's going on?
I don't know. I've got nothing to add on that one. Sorry. Although I guess Dasta Chono says the 2 people have guns pointed at him. So
yeah, they do.
Well, I mean, but it means that his motivation could be like, well, even if it is a Mexican standoff where everybody's going to die, I'm definitely going to be one of the people who dies. So maybe I should just let Clarence have his way. And
or maybe he means with all the muscle that all those heavy connections are going to destroy his business or something.
Yeah, I suppose that's a possibility too.
But yeah, small issues, or me maybe not understanding. I was also very tired when I watched that part of the movie, so I was kind of busy this week, so I had to do a lot of things.
Yeah, no problem. We also are kind of a day ahead of where we were planning for because of EFAP getting rescheduled. So yeah, that's fun too.
It's all good. It's all good. I'm just making excuses so I don't. See, I can't even talk, so I can't even do the joke anymore. Let's just go ahead.
Robocop enters the warehouse.
He enters the warehouse, and boy, does he. He kills a lot of people here.
Oh, yeah. It's a full-blown shootout.
He arrives, and he just says, "Come quietly, or there will be trouble." And then this one guy in the front says, fuck you, and just all start shooting.
Yes. And but they all have small arms, and we've established earlier in the film that small arms fire does not really do anything to Robocop.
Yeah, he just kind of stands there and let them shoot while he's just...
You might as well be shooting a BB gun at a freight train.
Yeah, because you see him do like his whole target thing as well, so he basically knows where everyone is. He has everything calculated already. And yeah, he basically just shoots everyone up. There's nothing really to add to that. He just goes around and just fucking annihilates everything until only
his little cowboy pose with the hand up, hand up, and like pointing with the other one.
Yeah, and basically, I think he legit just shoots everyone until only Clarence is left.
It takes Clarence alive.
Yeah, because he obviously has some...
After getting a very, very explicit confession.
Oh, yeah. I actually didn't catch that the first time around. I was like, wait, did he actually say that? When they play it back, I was like, oh, shit, he did say that.
Well, it just shows how when Clarence is so used to not being defeated that when he's just like immediately in self-preservation mode.
Yeah, absolutely. And so there's only Clarence left, and he tells him his rights, but after every sentence he yeets him through another window. You have the right to remain silent. Yeet. He's like, please stop. No, yeah, this is where he's like, I'm working for Dick Jones. Dick Jones! He's like yelling at it. It was like
you could not have narked any harder there.
Yeah,
Clarence.
and I think right after that, Roku says everything you say will be used against you.
I love the next scene though when he goes to book him. Is like, what's the charge? He's a cop killer.
He's a cop killer.
He's like, believe me, I'm an eyewitness. Last time he killed a cop.
Yeah. Yeah, fun stuff. So yeah, Clarence is now in the bunk. In the bunk is let's see here. Oh, I need to change my schloopty whoopty. Oh, you also see when he's oh yeah, he's actually choking him, and Clarence reminds like, hey, you're still a cop, right? You're a cop. And he's like, and you see Directive 3 uphold the law. It's like, and he stops choking him. And he goes into arrest mode. Just a nice little touch.
Like, okay, fine, I won't murder you.
Fine, I guess. Right.
Guess this concludes Act 2.
Yes. I guess we go to the loop until the low point of the movie, because I think that makes sense. Oh, at the end of this, we actually get the laser.
Yeah, the satellite laser defense system or whatever it's called. It's like it misfired and killed some people, but with 2 former U.S. presidents.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, that was an accident. 100% sure.
So yeah, we cut to the police station, and we hear that the police unit decided to strike. And I think the guy that was in the towel in the beginning is saying, it's like, we're getting creamed out here. We lost 4 people last week alone.
Yeah.
Just saying us how dire the situation is for the police department here. And yeah, it's the robotism to book him. And Clarence just kind of spits on the paper. It's like, just give me my damn phone call.
Fucking phone call.
Yeah, Jones is just kind of on the phone with Clarence, and he tells him, my lawyers will have you out in like 24 hours. Just don't say anything else. You really fucked up. And yeah, Robocop just left again, and now he's making his way to Dick Jones, who is now in possession.
As you would.
Yeah, and he's now in possession of the device that tracks Robocop. So he's basically just waiting for him to arrive. Yeah, Robocop just parks in front of the door, basically. No, in like a parking lot or like a parking thingy lot. Yeah,
the parking garage.
Yeah, I think it looks like a garage. Yeah. Yeah, and just walks right in. I mean, yeah, again, who's gonna stop Robocop, right? They just kind of look. It's like, what the fuck is he doing here? And just kind of drives up the long ass elevator, right? And yeah, he goes right into his office, is about to take him in. Dick Jones is like, oh, what is the problem, officer? Oh, you also, I just see that by chance. You actually see on his screen that he starts playback here. Playback, Clarence Bodica.
Of Clarence's,
File
confession.
number, blah, blah, blah. That's fun. Oh yeah,
it is.
That's when
that's
when
again
like,
good
Dick
setup
Jones!
for the end of it. Yeah. Well, it's neat that this also establishes like what comes into play at the end of the movie, where he can record things like confessions and then play them back. So there's no question about what he saw or heard. It's like,
So yeah, he just goes in. Looks like Dick Jones is complying, and it's like, oh, you better take me in. And then all of a sudden, Directive Number 4 takes effect. It's like, oh no, what is this?
yeah.
And Dick Jones say, oh, this is is that your 4th directive kicking in? That's a direct contribution of mine. And Directive Number 4 says, any attempt to arrest a senior officer of OCP results in shutdown. And Robocop, or maybe even Murphy at this point, is just fighting that. He's like, oh no, I don't want to be turned off. That's gonna be a bad thing. So he's like heavily struggling, like he's malfunctioning. You see his screen flicker and everything. He even says, oh, we can't have our products turn against us. That would be...
Which, I mean, functionally, like that's not really a bad feature to have, if like especially during development. If you've got something that is a basically sentient killing machine.
Yeah. Hey, maybe they learned from their Ed 209 mistake earlier.
Yeah, how about don't murder any of the board executives in the pitch meetings?
Yeah. So Robo's fighting the shutdown. He's struggling heavily. And Jones just has an ad in his not in his room, in his office, rooms, department, whatever. And yeah, that thing is just shooting the shit out of Robocop, and that does some damage to his armor. Like there's some heavy dents in there. It gets yeeted around by the thing.
Yeah. Very high caliber rounds.
Yeah. Thing gets pretty close. It's going for the kill shot, but Robocop, 400 pounds strength, he just turns the one weapon against the other weapon turret and makes it destroy the thing.
This is awesome.
Yeah, and it's like boom. And then the fucking Ed starts shooting rockets at Robocop, who's just barely avoiding. And he makes his way to the staircase that brings him down to the parking garage. In the meantime, Jones is calling someone to get the police department. I don't know if he's calling the police department directly, but at least he's notifying someone that Robocop is going haywire here. And yeah, this is where we see that the Ed can't really handle stairs. Can't really handle stairs. Not really built for that. And Rogue is looking at it, it's like, oh, that's interesting.
All right, speaking as someone who has had to train myself how to walk downstairs with a prosthetic leg, it's not easy.
Yeah, I bet.
You got to really kind of wrap your head around basically putting your heel at the very end of the step so that as you're moving your body forward, your toe kind of points down and then hits the next step and you can kind of move on. But it's weird to do the first time you try it. There's a reason at the prosthetics clinics, the physiotherapists have this little thing that's like 3 steps.
Yeah.
You go up the 3 steps and then you go down the 3 steps. And if you could do that safely for a little while, you can try a real staircase. But for the longest time, my ability to get up and down stairs was leg off, sit on the steps, my butt, and then go up backwards by doing tricep presses, essentially up each step, like a little dog with when they wipe their butt on the ground, kind of that, but upstairs with him.
I hope you were wearing pants and didn't leave some brake marks.
Hey, it's my own home. I don't have to wear pants.
Okay, fine. I mean, you're the one who needs to clean it up, probably. So.
Hey, I'm a cripple. I get a cleaner to come in.
Oh, damn it. That's cheating.
Cheating, but it's honestly one of the 4 or 5 benefits of losing a leg.
Yeah.
Handicap parking is by far the biggest one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can see that. Right, yeah, and then the Ed stumbles down the stairs and it kind of gets stuck there, and the sounds it makes almost sounds like a little baby crying and stomping its feet. That's actually pretty funny how it lies there. It goes like
it's like a little pig.
Yeah.
It's kind of cute. I felt sort of sorry for it.
So yeah, he makes his way to the parking garage, and there's a lot of police officers waiting for him who got the call to, well, basically destroy Robocop because I guess they told him he's malfunctioning and stuff. But not all of them agree, because some of them say it's like, he's a cop, goddammit. Which makes a lot of sense because they're already short on cops and now they have the super cop and they have to destroy it. It's like, goddamn.
Yeah.
Orders are orders, I guess, and they start blasting him to smithereens. He's taken a bunch of damage here. He's already damaged from the fight with Ed 209. And
I think you can see his eye now at this point, right? Like his
yeah.
visor's cracked.
Yeah, his visor's
I always
cracked.
thought
You
that
can
was
see
a really cool image.
see his right eye. So yeah, when he's trying to escape, and he just kind of rolls from like floor to floor, and he gets picked up by Lewis, who's not in it to kill him here.
Yeah, well, yeah, this was a bit of a contrivance too. She coincidentally got to a spot where she could get to him, not knowing exactly where he was going, where she was not around any of the other cops trying to shoot him.
Yeah,
that would have then like said, "Hey, I guess Lewis is in on this." But yeah, I'm willing to let a few flaws slide and still love a movie as much as I love RoboCop.
Mm-hmm.
That one was always like, "Oh, that's convenient."
Yeah. And then they're out of here. And now we get the ad. First, we get the ad for the SUX 6000.
Yeah.
Because bigger is better in American tradition.
Is it right from here that it pans in that Emil and like all of Clarence's guys got the SUX, or is that later on?
No, that's when that's right after the ad when they have their meetup. Yeah.
Yeah, like Dick Jones just buys them a whole bunch of shit, and they're like, "All this stuff is for killing RoboCop. Go do it."
Yeah, it's just like, and then we get the news part where we learn that a laser from space misfired and set ablaze a ton of acres of wooden areas, killing 113 people, including 2 former US presidents.
Yeah, I know.
Who retired there. It's like, Jesus, the laser misfired.
No conspiracy theory here, everybody. Just a coincidence that these 2 US presidents were camping at the time.
Yeah. And yeah, the OCP and the union are still in talk at the moment, but the strikes are planned for midnight. And yeah, those strikes take place. And now I have to move the thing again, which I could probably just do all the way to the end because, actually no, hang on, wait. Let me see here. I need to see with my eyes. That's the spot. Oh no! Wait, we get the meeting with Clarence and Dick Jones first, before we get the SUX-tisms.
Oh yeah, because it doesn't Dick Jones kind of request the things that he needs, and that's where he gets the the 50 cals, like the Barrett, or like the RoboCop science fiction equivalent of a Barrett 50 cal.
Yeah. Because we get a little bit of more talking, and then I think we're straight into the last action scene, basically, I think. Which is fucking
well, this
wild.
is the last act of the movie. There's a bit of setup with Lewis and him at the mill, and him kind of practicing to shoot without his visor on the baby food.
Yeah.
I thought that was really funny that even though it was like the protein mix that's supposed to actually be his meal replacements and give him the nutrients that he requires to subsist, or like the electrolytes and everything, and then like the other guy
Hello?
Oh, sorry. I forgot I was on push to talk. Yeah, so Joe Cox. I released my space bar as I was scrolling through my my web browser to find the name. But Joe Cox, who's Bob Orton's partner, saying the whole thing about, it tastes like baby food.
Okay.
It's just funny that like Lewis actually then brings him baby food.
Right. Yeah.
And then he starts using the bottles as target practice to kind of recalibrate his aim. And you see him, I guess, for the first time also without his visor on. You see that his head's shaved and he's only got like half of a human face. His whole occipital skull is all robot parts still.
I'll show that on screen when we get there, actually. Because it's damn. I'm actually not sure how exactly they did it, but it looks insane. It looks insanely good. But yeah, Clarence has a meetup with Dick Jones, who got him out of prison or jail, obviously. Then first he's being rude to the assistant lady, who just says, "Well, you've been expected by Mr. Jones," and he puts his gum on her nameplate and says she can keep it. It's like, okay, rude. He also says he has some free time after done here. She can fit him in. It's like, fucking creep.
Yeah, no, he is very, very much a creepy dude in this movie.
Oh, yeah. Well, Dick Jones basically tells him he's a fucking idiot. And because every word he said was recorded and is admissible as evidence. And Clarence said, well, I was fucking dying, so I don't know. And he's like, well, you gotta kill this guy now. It's like, yeah, right. I don't have time for this bullshit. I'm gonna peace out. And then Dick says, well, we're gonna start building Delta City in like 2 months. It's 2 million people living in trailers, plenty of space for drugs, gambling, and prostitution. And you could own it all. And Clarence turns right back around. It's like, well, now I'm talking.
Not a bad pitch there,
Not
Dick.
a bad pitch.
Speaking my language.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very convincing to him. And he just asks, well, you got access to military-grade weapons? And Dick just says, well, basically, we are the military. I was like, yeah, makes sense. So yeah, Clarence is all in on this stuff. He's very much convinced now. You see Lewis and Robocop are hiding out in it's like some abandoned mine, I think it was, right?
No, it's the mill from the beginning of the movie.
Oh, it is the mill from the beginning. Okay, it kind of looked like a mine later on, a bit farther out. So that's why I was not entirely sure if it is actually the same place.
I always thought it was really cool that it's like, oh, so they come back to hide at the place where the villains were hiding at the beginning of the movie. And they are sort of on the run at that point. Like this is a movie about two cops who basically get on the wrong side of the law and have to clear their name. Which all of that takes place in the last like 20 minutes of the movie. It's kind of nuts, and I don't think it's awkward either, really, considering the way everything's set up. Like them, it almost makes you think that like, hey, maybe if there are a situation where a misunderstanding has led to a good cop being accused of a crime, that it would be the kind of thing that you could resolve within a day if you just like are like, all you really need to do is score the evidence that can kind of get people to understand what actually happened there, and then not have to go through any trials.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is they've lost the upper hand at this point, so they're the ones on the run, and they wind up at the mill and cap off basically the story against Clarence and his gang in the place where they first came to head with Clarence and his gang, or at least directly. I guess they were on the highway at first.
So yeah, they're heading out.
It's like poetry, it rhymes.
Lewis brought his gun and other stuff from the department, telling us also, well, there was barely anyone there. Looks like we're officially on strike now. So yeah, there you go. Which also probably made it much easier for her to get those things out of there. So that's just a nice little tidbit to have there.
Yep. Opened up a little hole in your script that you can do something unrealistic later on with.
Yeah.
And it's a good kind of hole, though. It's like, hey, an opening, not hole.
And then, yeah, he starts unscrewing his helmet. And also warns Lewis, well, you might not like what you see. And yeah, I'm just going to show it on screen here. Just look at this. This looks fucking awesome. Yeah,
it was really good special effects.
Fun fact, Robocop's skull is completely metal. They literally skinned his face off and stretched it over the metal. Oh, nice. That's dedication right there.
Peter Weller is that kind of method actor. He's just like, yeah, just cut my face right off. It's fine.
Make me to a cyborg. But yeah, just look at this. It looks fucking great. Yeah, when he says, hungry? No, thank you. Yeah, it's really impressive looking. It's awesome.
And it's also very sad. Like, it's tragic when you see him like this, because you're like, oh man, it's the same guy under there, and he's just this kind of like, it's almost got like this little bit of a body horror element by like having the skin stretched over, because you really could have done that effect and made it gotten the same point across of like, oh yeah, no, there's not much real human under there. It's mostly robot, and then there's like a bit of his face. But having it seem like, okay, they basically kind of cut most of his head off and then stretched what was left of his face over it, so that really realistically, I think just so that he'd have a mouth that people could see, so that when he's talking to them, it seems more like it's a person talking to them, and that would, I think, be quite beneficial for doing things like, man, you have suffered an emotional shock. You should go to a rape crisis. Like, that thing being just a speaker would be a lot less easy to get behind than what seems like a human being under armor talking to you.
Yeah, just a robotic voice would be off-putting to civilians and stuff.
Yeah, and so this way it's like they did that, but then when you strip away the curtain, I guess, and you see what he's actually like under there, it's like, oh, this was horrific what they did to him, really. Like, he's a movie monster. He's just, one who's a good guy.
Yeah.
I guess that's how he landed a playable character spot in one of the Mortal Kombat games recently.
No, yeah.
Like, oh yeah, it's basically a monster, whatever.
No, whatever. And yeah, Lewis reactions to us. Good to see you, Murphy. Good to see you back.
Yeah, and that was nice.
See you again. It's like, And then he asks what happened to Murphy's son and wife, and she tells him that they started over after they knew you were dead, or Murphy was dead.
Yeah.
And this is where he says, I can feel them, but I can't remember them. And then asks her to leave him alone. It's like, oh, sad face.
Yeah, it's rough. Because have you ever had a bad breakup that you get a few years from, and it's almost like you can't really remember the person, but you do kind of remember how you feel about the whole situation? It's why I think that line is so good. Like, 'cause it's like, oh, I can feel them, but I can't remember them. It's like, oh, I kind of hear you on that one, man. I won't go to the cliche thing and bring up my leg, because honestly, I remember my leg, but I can't feel it. So it's kind of the opposite.
Yeah.
But it's just, it's one of those lines that I think conveys a very specific emotion of, this is a thing that I miss, and it seems far enough away that I can forget it. But what I don't forget is how it all made me feel. And I think that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah, now we see the crew coming back together. See, like, Emil just hanging out. He just wants to watch the telly. So he just throws a break through and turns up the television. And he's like, I would buy that for $1. And he's like, hilarious.
Yeah, every time you hear it, it gets funnier.
Yeah. So yeah, police is now officially on strike. So people are just running rampage, just stealing shit left and right because there's no one to stop them, really. Yeah, he just meets up with the boys. He got them all together. It's like, ooh, here, look, I brought some military tech. It's just a big ass gun that makes things explode. The black guy from the beginning who was peeing, he stole one of those SUX 6000s. And that's the first thing that gets destroyed. It's like, here, look at this. And just blows the thing up.
Did he steal it? I was kind of always under the impression that Dick Jones gave him that along with all the weapons. Because aren't the rifles are in
No, there's a second
SUX,
one.
right?
The black guy has one too, because he found it just on the street and he just took it.
Oh, okay.
And then he gets there and then Claire just blows it up.
That's funny.
He's like, oh, I think he even says like, oh, I have one of those too. So yeah. So yeah, they just kind of go a little nuts. Like, I want to shoot it too. I want to shoot it too. And then just shoot everything and blow stores up and more cars and shit. Basically just having fun with the cool weapons.
Yeah, like absolute anarchy.
Yeah.
Just like no rules. The parents are away.
Yeah, pretty much.
Citywide Lord of the Flies.
I also like how they seem to be happy to see each other. Seems like they actually have some kind of friendship going on of some sorts. They go like, "Hey, what's up?" Just handshakes and bro fists all around. So yeah, they apparently had some missions together, or some heists, whatever you wanna say.
Yeah, probably just like kind of going on little rampages around the town. Well, I mean, I guess stealing the most expensive stuff they can find, but you
Yeah,
gotta figure that would have to get boring at some point, right? Once you've gotten the car that you want.
yeah. But yeah, the thingy Bob Clarence looks at this little device like, oh look, he's at the bell. Just go get your cars and go up there. So yeah, this is where Robocop says my target is a bit off. Starts shooting the things, and then Lewis kind of helps them target it back in. I think they just kind of recalibrating it, I think is the idea. Because his visor is gone, so he has to adjust his aim. And yeah,
Yeah, the thing I was saying with the baby food target practice.
exactly, yeah. And now that that's over, the baddies are here. Whoa! Because now
Final
it's time
fights.
for the crazy last action scene. So
They don't really pull any punches with this one either.
oh no, this is just all out insanity. They get their guns out. Oh yeah, he tells her to just get the car ready basically, and he just distracts them. He throws like some metal platings that are lying around, throws them behind them, so they turn around, start shooting immediately. And you say, oh, you're looking for me? And he shoots one of them immediately. So there's one guy down, the other one goes away. Let me see. I think next is where he just makes the van guy drive into the toxic waste thing.
Yeah, rip a meal.
Yeah, dude, Emil gets like the craziest death I've seen in a while.
That was probably the scariest thing I ever saw as a child.
I believe it.
I was not ready for that when I first watched it. Because you got to also understand, like, I was born in '84. So I think when Robocop came out, I was like 3. I didn't watch it in theaters or anything, obviously. But I probably watched it in 1988, 1989, like when I was like 5 or 6. And like this was back in an era where you could have an R-rated movie that's ultra violent and has people getting their skin melted by
Yeah.
toxic waste. But then you'd go to like the toy store and there'd be like action figures of them. I had an ED-209, like an Ed 209 action figure and
Nice.
a Robocop, and yeah, no, I don't remember getting like any of the criminals or anything, but I had those two, and I thought that was cool. So, it's weird then, especially if you start playing with the toys before you see the movie, and then you see the movie, with most of it being more or less okay for like a kid to see, and then you get to that, and you're like, oh no, no.
I mean, the effect holds up. Like he looks nasty.
Yeah, it's viciously horrifying.
Yeah, but yeah. So he shoots the black guy who was peeing. Immediately, they just kind of start shooting at them, but their aim is terrible, obviously. So there's just explosions everywhere. Robocop just running around, don't really give a shit because, well, he's Robocop. I think Clarence just turns away and just fucks off, tries to get some distance. And this is where I don't know why Emil decides to run him over, but he just does it. He gets shot Robocop tries to shoot him, but he kind of dodges away, and then this toxic waste goes through his whole truck, and he rolls out on the other side, and this fucker he's just melting. And
Yep.
he looks disgusting. Let's see here. Look at him. I'm gonna show that on stream. Look at this guy. He's just melting. His face is all fucked up. Looks really good. Because it looks so gross. But yeah, he's just kind of running around trying to get some help anywhere. Lewis, in the meantime, is in hot pursuit of Clarence. Just kind of behind him. I think they just kind of
And-
crash into each other. Yeah. Oh, and then Emil walks into the other guy. He's like, "Help me! Help me!" Just, ew, don't fucking touch me.
I mean, like, yeah, that's honestly my instant reaction would be to kill him. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like I would even like be in court being like, look, you should have seen the guy, okay?
Yeah.
Trust me, I did him a favor.
And then, well, it's about to be Emil's end here. And what an end it is. So Lewis is still chasing after Clarence. Emil walks in front of Clarence's car and he gets fucking exploded. He just goes like...
Yeah. Clarence doesn't even think about feathering the gas a little bit.
No, he just...
He's like, I'm going. Sorry, Emil. If you move or like, that's it.
Yeah.
That's your only option.
You kind of see his head fly away, but there's just only goop left. He's just so melted.
Splatters on the windshield. It looks like they just like chucked a bucket of mud at the windshield for the remains of Emil.
Emil goes sploosh, someone wrote.
Oh my god. Yeah, no, he really did go sploosh.
He did go sploosh, for sure, yeah. But yeah, because of that, Clarence loses control of the car and he flips over a ramp and lands in like a puddle thingy. Comes out guns blazing, shooting Lewis. It's like, no, she got shot.
Yeah.
And Robocop gets there, confronts Clarence. Clarence pretends like he's giving up, throws away his gun. Lewis slowly makes her way to the big gun because she realizes someone is sneaking up on the high ground. While Clarence is pretending to be surrendering.
Ray Wise's character.
Yeah, I don't know why he's not using his gun and opts for the crane with the metal parts in it. But to be fair, it works out. So
yeah, I mean that part of his plan did work.
He gets Robocop trapped. Yeah, I wrote down. He decides to use the metal tisms and dumps it on Robocop while he has the exploding gun. And then after that, I immediately wrote, the shocking part is that it actually works. He flattens Robocop.
I mean, that's fair. Although I guess his rationale could be, hey, Robocop has evaded all these other people who have the same gun that I had, and maybe I should just try to trap him, and then we can kill him when he can't move.
Yeah, but while he's celebrating, he gets exploded by Lewis, who made her way.
Lewis, who found herself one of the chonker guns.
Yeah, just goes like. And then Clarence gets like a metal pipe kind of dealio while he's stuck, and he just starts bashing him and pierces through the damaged armor chest piece that had some big old wear and tear. But then Robocop uses the server connector we talked about earlier and just spikes him in the neck. And
both of the main villains of the film are defeated by that spike.
Yeah. And yeah, everyone is dead. That's we beat the crew. Lewis is pretty badly injured. But Robocop tells her she will be fixed. They fix everything. And then starts freeing himself.
They could fix you. They fix everything.
Yeah.
Such a good line because he seems kind of reluctant about it. Like he's like, trust me, even if you don't want to come back, they're going to bring you back.
They bring you back. And then just starts freeing himself from the rubble. And Robocop just drives straight up to the OCP headquarters, brought one of the big boy guns, and they positioned one of the AT-209s outside. And it just goes, you are illegally parking. You have 20 seconds to move it. Implying if you don't move it, you get shot to shit. But yeah.
No, illegal parking. It's a death sentence.
It is a death sentence,
The judges in Dread have nothing on Head 209.
Yeah. But yeah, Robocop brings one of the big boy guns and just explodes it in one shot.
I love that he kind of smirks, too.
Yeah.
Like, after he was like, that was easy.
Yeah. But yeah, he goes up to they have like a little meeting. And he just comes in and goes like, you're under arrest for being a murderer. And the old man just asks, well, there's some heavy charges, officer. What is the evidence? And then he gets this little bloody data connector, puts it in their little screen server machine. And he plays the part where Dick says that he had to kill Bob because he made a mistake.
Defeats the other villain with the same spike he killed Clarence with, right?
Yeah. This is also...
But Directive 4 is still a thing, and knowing that he's in a bit of a bind because that was pretty clear-cut evidence, you get, not Clarence, sorry, a Dick taking the old man hostage.
Yeah. With the big old Desert Eagle again.
Oh, yeah. Which, yeah, coincidentally, I guess is still on hand for Dick Jones. And yeah, then Directive 4. Do you have the exact wording of Directive 4 again? Prime Directive 4?
You can't lay hands on a senior...
high-ranking senior OCP executive.
Yeah.
And what would be the way to get around that?
Here. Any attempts to arrest a senior officer of OCP results in shutdown. And he lets the old man know. And when he's taking him hostage, he just says, Dick, you're fired!
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And then he just blasts him through the fucking window. And this one black dude who's been eating the baby food, he's giddy. He's like, yeah, murder. Yeah. Oh, fuck yeah. So yeah.
And yeah.
And then the last scene we got, the old man says, hey, nice shooting. What's your name? And Robocop looks at him and just says, Murphy. Yeah! And this is the last line. This is how the movie ends.
Yep. The movie ends and then comes in on like one of the best like motion picture themes of all time. Like the music in Robocop, I absolutely love. It's such a good theme song.
Yeah.
And so like having Murphy be like, yeah, no, he's aware of himself now. He's back to just being a human. Like, I mean, not physically, but he's got his faculties back. Such a cool ending.
Yeah.
But and this was your first time watching it, at least as far as your memories.
Yeah. I don't think I've watched it before.
It's an effective first viewing, anyways. If you don't remember anything that happens, it's all new to you.
Yeah.
But
I liked it a lot. I think it's pretty good. I mean, I mentioned the tisms I've seen. We talked about them, but this is like the kind of issues that don't break the movie and its flow. So yeah, it's those are the kinds of issues we had to deal with back in the day, and now we just have issues where we destroy the whole universe of a movie. Yeah. So I'll take those over the other ones any day of the week. It's it's good shit.
Well, I think,
I like it.
Also, I think we might be we as in a society of people who enjoy media, but mostly the people who are actually making it, might be a victim of just having too many options, especially when you get to the high budget level. So like, I mean, the indie filmmakers, you pretty much have to deal with the same kind of constraints that you would have had in the 80s. Granted, you have easier access to more technology, but ultimately back then, this was like the idea where it's like, hey, top of the line movie, like we can sink a whole bunch of money in this, we can get the best effects. What can we do? We're doing stop motion animation. We're doing blood squibs. We're trying to use locations more than once to help lower on scouting. And how can we not make a good movie in spite of these things, but make a good movie that uses these things as their strength? And I think part of the problem now, especially now that the whole volume filming that's been going on with like the Disney Plus shows, and apparently Thor, a good chunk of it was filmed in one of those volume studios where it's like live projections of what would be on the blue screen so that people can, or green screen, so that people can actually, the actors can react to their environment, which, you know, makes sense for when you're on set. But I think now that you've got this like Matrix loading screen, like the big white room in the Matrix, where you can just kind of load anything into it, and you can pretty much guarantee that you can hit a reasonable standard of visual fidelity with your effects without spending that much money or taking that much time. It's just, I find people are getting, or like filmmakers in general, even the writers that are working with them, are just getting a lot less creative because they don't have as many constraints. So you get complacent when you think, oh, okay, well, we can put anything in this movie, so whatever, we'll do this and this and this and this. But when you're writing a movie and thinking, wait, how is the film crew, like the director, the special effects, ever going to pull this off? And if your honest answer is they won't be able to, then you start thinking, okay, so let's try to put this in a have these similar events happen in a context that makes more sense for making a film. And I think it'd be cool if movie studios started going back to that mentality. Like maybe say, hey, for this, I don't know, Iron Man 4 or whatever you're going to call it, or Ironheart, or whatever next Marvel movie they're going to make, we're capping you guys at $60 million for this movie. It's a solo movie about this character. You cannot spend a dime over $60 million. If you're having reshoots, factor that into your initial budget because that's it. I honestly think we'd be getting way better movies because they'd have to be thinking harder. Whereas now it's just like, oh no, I can spend most of my time partying and then dump out an outline for a script and have my actors improvise and then have everything fixed in post, apparently. That's it's not a great run we've been on lately for the most part. Like the odd random exception, like Everything Everywhere All at Once, or in my opinion, The Northman. I don't know if you've seen that, but I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, I did a fortunate.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. But unfortunately, that didn't do well in the box office, so I don't know.
I'm almost sort of happy about that because I kind of don't want them to make another. I don't want to see the Robert Eggers cinematic universe in which turns out that Olga from The Northman is actually her character from The Witch. And then Robert Pattinson shows up as a guy who has his guts eaten by seagulls.
Yeah. Yeah, we talked about it on the EFAP, and I think I talked about it with Fringy when we talked about Thor on the Forge. Just the whole process is just broken because we know we're getting to a point where even the normie viewers start to turn on the movies pretty quickly. It's like, oh, this was actually not very good, was it? It's like, you're right. Because normally it goes like initial hype, and then after a month or two, it's like, oh, it's actually pretty shit. But now it's
the turnaround's like a week.
faster and faster. And when you think about that, Thor, Love and Thunder, I think had like a $200 million budget or something. And then you look at the VFX and CGI and stuff, and it's fucking awful. And then you have...
I think Thor Love and Thunder was actually quite a bit higher than that because I don't know too much about box office numbers and things like that, but Odin, who's one of the co-hosts on Friday Night Tights, was talking about it, I think, 2 weeks ago because he wasn't on this past one. And I think he said it had something like above 400. Like it was apparently quite a bit more expensive than Doctor Strange for whatever reason.
Love and Thunder, 250 million even, yeah.
Maybe he was saying 450 with a marketing budget, but no, I feel like I was shocked when I found out how much it costs, and I don't think 250 would have blown me away because Marvel movies are stupidly expensive.
Let's see.
I think Northman was like 100 million or something, a little 90, I think so. Less than a quarter of the price. You have a movie that, hey, this is actually really good.
Yeah.
Part of it, I think, too, is simplifying things. Like Robocop is also a pretty simple story. There's things going on in the world. So you have the corporatization of police, the police strike being a result of that. The whole thing going on with OCP with the two different heads of departments kind of competing for this big project to be the flagship thing. And you have a good cop gets killed, turned into basically a superhero, and then has to learn how to live as a robot and still kind of retain his humanity. That's not a whole lot of elements.
No,
and
it can
ultimately
do stuff with it. Works really well.
Yeah, and ultimately, like if you want to really boil down the plot and not really touch the characters, it's just corporation has a villain who hires works with a bunch of gangsters. The gangsters kill a cop. The cop doesn't die and then comes back for revenge.
Yeah.
Simple. Whereas try it now. Explain to me Thor Love and Thunder.
No, I don't want to.
No, I don't want you to either. It was I was making a rhetorical point.
No, I gotcha. But yeah, what I was going for, because I watched an Indian movie for The Forge as well, because I stumbled across it from the Corridor
Is it
Crew.
RRR?
It is RRR, yes.
Yeah.
I did a forge on that one. That was because I saw a Corridor Crew video on it where they were talking about the CGI and it looked like really good. Like the visuals are like insanely good in this movie. And I was like, oh, this looks like kind of a fun movie to do. And then I realized it's 3 hours long and I had to prepare for 3 days or something after work. It's like, damn it. But it was worth it. It was a really good movie. I'm probably going to watch it again at some point because
awesome. Yeah, that's good to hear.
Really entertaining. I wholeheartedly recommend it. I think it's pretty competent in the story department as well. The action scene is outlandishly funny and insane. But the movie sets its tone with the action scenes because our main characters are basically superheroes, even though they're not shown as some, but they're like super strong and unkillable almost.
I've not seen it yet. I'm waiting for a time that X-Ray Girl and I can watch it together because she wants to see it as well. Chris Gore, who's a
Go watch it. It's awesome.
Guest on our show, and he's constantly recommending it on every stream he's on. All I've seen of it. And intentionally, because once I saw this, I was like, I don't want to see a single frame of this movie until I can watch it all. Was the preview scene on Netflix? Like, you know, when you highlight a movie on Netflix and it kind of shows you not a trailer, but like a clip. The clip was him running from I think it was a lion. Yeah, running from a lion through the woods, and then he jumps away and then moves. And avoids a wolf, which comes out of nowhere. And
CGI on those animals
like,
is
oh my
fucking
God,
nuts.
that was unbelievably funny. Like it was funny because it was just so absurdly awesome.
Yeah. Those action scenes are basically all like that. They just get crazier, and it's a really good time.
Yeah, it was. I'm looking forward to watching it, but
and the
I'm trying not
CGI
to find
is on point on that. And I need you to remind when you see it, that movie had a budget of $71 million.
Yeah, it's again creativity
and like, time. They took their time. Well. That movie was actually supposed to come out before the Rona happened, but they had to reschedule a lot of things. Obviously, that was one of those movies that was delayed a lot of times because of that.
You'd think that if you have a big delay because of a pandemic that lasts basically several years, or at least a year and a half as far as lockdowns and things go, maybe spend that time cleaning up the VFX.
Yeah.
You know, take more time in post to be like, hey,
because the way they do the CGI is like a mix of real and CGI. Because you will see a scene where there's like a lot of people, like a sea of people, and they're like surrounding a thing. It's like an intro scene for a character. It's very early on, and basically the first row of people you see in that really wide shot, those are all real people on a real fence. They're shaking a real fence, and then everything behind it, that's like CGI when there's like those masses of people. Yeah. So it's like this really healthy mix of real and CGI. Apparently there were like over 1,000 extras in the movie.
That was the Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings method for like the Helm's Deep battle. It was there was a whole bunch of extras and actors kitted out in various detailed levels of orc or urukai, I guess, costumes, and then a bunch of CG to buff it out to make the probably 1,000 or 700 or 500 whatever people who were there look like 10,000.
Yeah.
You can do that, and especially if you're multiplying actual people, every single person there is a real person. It's just you're kind of copying and pasting them all.
Yeah, that's great. No, go watch it. Let me know what you thought, because I really enjoyed that movie.
I am at the mercy of my wife's schedule, but when we find the time, I shall give you my at least. Oh my God, that was awesome! Or yeah, you're right about it. Or I'm the one guy who doesn't like RRR.
I'm still trying to get Mufti to watch it, but he's the busy boy. So always lucky if I get a chance to get him to do something.
Mahler is your X-ray.
Well, Dreamcast stole them for a day from me. Now, real BBC. All of a sudden,
that's why I'm never letting X-Ray Girl go anywhere near a drinker.
All of a sudden, he's going
Scottish
everywhere. Doesn't even like me anymore. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm sorry, drinker. You're far too handsome to interact.
Yeah, but yeah, no, it's a good time. I'm gonna get Mutely to watch it. And
X-Ray Girl's in the chat.
Oh, excuse me. Good times. All right.
Okay, honey, you can meet Critical Drinker as long as you guys keep like at least a 12-foot perimeter.
Good stuff. All right. I'm just gonna read out those super chatteroonies, and I guess
Right on.
we're out of here. Let's see. See all. Let's see. My two favorite Elden Ring players on the same stream without the Elden Ring. Also talking about Robocop. Robocop was the first R-rated movie I ever saw. Oh, well, there you go.
I mean, if it wasn't mine, it was probably close. Like it was either RoboCop or Predator, or one of the classic '80s action movies, because that's back when I was a kid, and I don't think parents were as sensitive about violent content as they are these days.
Yeah, my dad.
I'll say this.
Go ahead.
I saw Terminator 2 in theaters when I was 6.
Oh,
So,
okay. Yeah, my dad kind of decided for himself. He checked it out and was like, "No, that's fine." And then someone was like, "That's not fine, actually."
Yeah.
So yeah, he was pretty chill with that. Yeah. Hey, glad you enjoyed the Elden Ring player Roonies. Probably going to be a while till I revisit that game.
I've still been deadlocked at Millennia with my Confessor class. I'm not good at fighting her with that build, but I've almost got her. Like I got her down to about 25% in phase 2 a few times, and I haven't put it together. And I only play the PlayStation version while I'm streaming, because anytime I tried to stream the PC version, it just ran like absolute dog shit.
No.
So I was like, maybe I got the PS4 version with the collector's edition I bought. So I was like, I'll actually not sell this and instead stream with it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I'm stuck at Millennia, and everyone's like, "Yeah, well, you've already beaten Millennia a bunch of times with other playthroughs. Like, just don't worry about it." I'm like, "No, you don't. You haven't beaten an Elden Ring playthrough until you've killed Millennia. Okay, you gotta kill her every time, otherwise it doesn't count."
Didn't Metal fail his shield run? No, I just stopped playing because I didn't want to play Elden Ring anymore.
Yeah, and I mean that's fair. Like I was working on a huge script on it, so part of me was like, I sort of want to get a good sense of how the different builds work against different characters, and so I've got a sorcery build and a confessor build that I'm working my way through. But I've basically done all manner of melee builds.
Oh, okay.
I have not done a shield build, gotta say, or your item run, which I still think is insane when you first told me about it.
No, I did glitch Millennia in that run. Yes, I blame Fortia for that one because he showed me that there is one. Took like an hour to learn that glitch. I had to learn the zip glitch and stuff.
That's the thing, though. When you have options on the table, it's difficult to not use them in the face of attempt number 30 or 40 or 50 or 500. It's like, oh god, should I just use the rivers of blood now? Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, Robocop 2 is worth it, if only for the quote unquote showcase scene. Okay.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I think Robocop 2 is slightly underrated, at least. It's definitely more Tismy than 2, or sorry, than the original one. Mm-hmm. And 3 is not worth watching at all, I don't think, or unless it's, self-punishment or meme content.
Let's see, there's one more. Happy birthday, Metal. Oh, thank you. That's a meme, if you're not aware. My birthday is every day.
Ah, right on.
Yeah.
It's very flexible of you.
Yeah, I'm very flexible with the birthdays. Do you think there will be a Robocop versus Terminator movie in the future? I'm actually surprised that's not a thing already.
Yeah, it was a game. It was a Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis game.
Oh, well, there you go.
It actually, honestly, it was not a bad premise, because it's kind of just that, like, I think does Robocop travel forward in time, or do the Terminators come back in time? But basically, you're Robocop fighting against Terminators, and it is often the reason why when people, although my profile picture kind of has a bit of a Terminator reference in the robotic eye, because I think that's the easiest way to indicate to people Cyborg. Even though most people say it looks like Kano's face, and I can't really argue with that. Mm-hmm. But the difference between Robocops and Terminators, they're both cyborgs, but it's an inverted type of cyborg. So the Terminator, robot on the inside, 100% robot, CPU, like a computer chip is its brain, no emotions, with living tissue put on top of that. Robocop is the kind of cyborg I am, where human brain still, human emotions, feelings, just robot parts. And So anytime people call me the Terminator, I was like, hey, he's there. I'm more like Robocop. I have feelings.
Very well. Very, very well. Well, there you go. That's the lot. We did it. We reached the end of the stream or something. Yeah, it was a good. That was a good outro.
Good times.
But yeah, that was fun. So, do you want to plug anything? What you're doing? What you're up to?
Right now, I'm just kind of trying to finish up this giant Metroid video that I've been working on forever. It's probably right now the cut with the audio all edited with no conclusion because I kept on getting scared that there'd be a bunch of Metroid Prime 4 news that I then have to tag onto the video afterwards somewhere. So I'm just going to be like, hey, I'm going to do the conclusion last. And so it's probably going to be about an hour and 47 minutes and close to 2 hours.
Nice.
Elden Ring is likely going to be about 12 minutes longer than that. So I'm kicking around the 2 hour marks on them. The downside is it's a lot of work. So I'd say actually, if you want to see more from me these days, probably the easiest thing to do is just follow me on Twitter at Cyborg Marc. And that'll tell you what I'm doing. But I have a YouTube channel that's Marc The Cyborg that when I do stuff, it goes up there. Yeah. And I'm probably going to make an effort to be doing more streaming because I feel like I've not been with my audience very much in the last little bit, and I should be better about that. But we had a dog die a month ago, and it's I took it pretty hard. Although the new puppy was quite cool. Although that's why they were barking, because the new puppy has an energy level which matches our 2-year-old puppy much more much more accurately. So it's a lot louder in this house these days.
Yeah, there's the Linkaroonies. It's also down in the description as you do. So go right ahead. Follow the cyborg that is not like Terminator but Robocop. That's what I learned today.
Robocop type cyborg.
Nice.
But just my leg though. I've still got all my other parts.
Still counts. But yeah, well, as for me, more forges. EFAP tomorrow, as of this being live. If you're not watching this live, it's out there on the Willer channel. Go check it out. Thor: Love and Thunder Part 2. Hooray!
Yay.
Can't have too many nice things in 1 week, so I gotta watch something shit. More Twitch streams. I'm close to finishing Majora's Mask. I'm probably gonna get the last couple of masks that are still missing, and then I'm gonna go to the final boss because I did all the temples already. And yeah, the next Forge is, if nothing changes, on the 21st. I think that was the Thursday next week. Yes, Jay has forced me to watch something bad. There's this new comedy-tism coming out called Farzar, which is one of those weird animated sludge comedy shows at the likes of Hoops and stuff. We're gonna check out like 3 episodes, I think was the plan, and then talk about it. And I'm already convinced it's gonna be awful because I saw the trailer and it was bad. So yeah, there you go. That's gonna await you next week on the Forge. And other than that, when I have time, still chopping away on the John Wick 2 script. But yeah, been a busy boy. People wanted me to watch. I had to watch Star Trek this week because I'm also doing the little Star Trek podcast with Jay.
Oh yeah, you guys are going through all of Next Gen?
Yes, we are
that's
now
at gonna be fun.
episode 12 of season 1. It's going to be a long time until we finish that one.
The good news is you're getting closer to where it starts getting really, really good.
I know, that's what I'm getting reminded of every time we watch it. It's like, can't you wait for the next seasons that are even better? It's like, yes, actually. But yeah, we recorded/streamed that on Jay's Twitch. But the episodes themselves come out every week. So yeah, can go check those out. And yeah, that's about it. Also, the next one, that one is already planned as well. I've been a busy boy. I've been setting up all kinds of things. Finally going to watch Mask of the Phantasm with Meme Repository. Continuing our DC animated arc. So people should be happy for that because people wanted to wanted us to
something of
watch
a
it
classic.
for a while. So that should be a good time. So yeah, those are the next 2 forges. And yeah, there you go. That's what I'm up to. I've keeping myself busy. I've been grinding away, and I'm liking it. But now I'm getting tired because I've been up since 7 a.m. So I'm probably going to sleep soon. So yeah, thank you for joining me, Marc. It has been a great time.
It was a pleasure, good sir.
And yeah, chat, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for the super chats. I appreciate it. Yeah, forges every week. Follow the YouTube channel. It's good times. It's good times. Also, all the other links in the description for everyone. So yeah, I'll catch you all in the next one. I can't even talk anymore. I should really go to bed. Goodbye.
Later.